This man possesses a century of cultivation and unparalleled martial arts skills. But he only needs to stay at home to acquire them. He was originally a so-called success guru. He accidentally traveled to the immortal cultivation world. He offended the master by sneezing. He was expelled from the ancestral home, which also marked the first step in his journey to becoming a peerless master. Just as Chu Xuan was praying to the heavens, the door suddenly opened. Chu Xuan turned around to look. A masked figure stood at the door. Could it be an immortal? It turned out to be just the butler delivering a meal, with his head covered by a tablecloth. The butler set the dishes in place and informed Chu Xuan that someone would be arriving later to deliver furniture. This time the master might be truly angry. You should stay here for a while and wait for him to calm down before we figure out what to do. Chu Xuan couldn't understand why his grandfather disliked him so much. It turns out that all of this had to be attributed to Chu Xuan's father. Chu Xuan's father was the third child in the family. In terms of talent, there was hardly anyone in the entire Qin Empire who could surpass him. As the beloved son of the master and the heir to the next family head, he defied the master in the matter of marriage. He secretly married a commoner and shortly after your birth, took your mother away from the Chu family. To this day there has been no news from him. Upon hearing this, Chu Xuan wore a helpless expression. After saying this, the butler went back to inform the servants to come and clean up the courtyard. After the servants tidied up for a while, the house and furniture were all tidied up, and the servants hurried back to report their task completed. Chu Xuan looked at the tidied house and felt his mood lift. At that moment, a sudden thought popped into his head. You've been cooped up at home all day. System reward. Invincible Vajra body technique. Who is speaking? Chu Xuan was marveling at the voice he had just heard. He only needs to stay at home to receive rewards, but leaving will reset the accumulated time. As soon as the words were spoken, a golden light flashed, indicating that today's reward had been distributed. Chu Xuan felt like he had a strange dream. He had just woken up and found a book titled Invincible Vajra Body Technique, placed beside him. Chu Xuan then realized that what had just happened was not a dream at all. Invincible Vajra Body is the top-tier defensive technique of the mortal stage. The mortal stage is the foundational stage. It is divided into 3 stages: body tempering, meridian opening, and qi gathering. People must break through each stage one by one to continue cultivating. All must be broken through to transcend the mortal stage. This book also distributes rewards according to stages. Chu Xuan decides to begin cultivation. He sinks his qi into the dantian and focuses his spirit at a point 3 Siuan and 2 Fan along the Du meridian. Practicing and practicing, Chu Xuan had already lost track of time. The evening moon flashed by in an instant. Blink and it's morning. Chu Xuan finds that after practicing all day, he actually feels more energetic. He picked up the reward for the second day, the qi gathering pill, and began to eat it. He ate while wondering what could the next rewards be. You've been staying indoors for 3 days. System reward. Phantom dagger. Chu Xuan picked up the phantom dagger from the 3rd day and examined it himself. Congratulations on having stayed indoors for 4 days already. System reward technique. Long serpent spirit fist. Chu Xuan practiced it without hesitation. He thought to himself, with 1 offensive and 1 defensive technique, these 2 major skills would be enough for self-defense. He also wanted to learn about the local history just in case. While Chu Xuan was watching intently, suddenly a voice came through. It turned out to be Sister Yun coming to deliver the meal. Chu Xuan was very happy to see Sister Yun. The two quickly made their way to the table. It turned out that Sister Yun had come specifically to see Chu Xuan. She told Chu Xuan that she would go to plead with their grandfather in a couple of days. Of course, Chu Xuan wanted to continue staying at home, but he couldn't refuse Sister Yun's kind offer. Sister Yun felt relieved seeing the cheerful Chu Xuan. Before leaving, she emphasized that she would definitely go to Grandpa to plead for mercy in a couple of days. Chu Xuan wore a helpless expression on his face. You've been staying at home for 5 days. System reward. Cultivation level increased by 1 year. Chu Xuan arrived as the true qi within his body surged, seemingly on the verge of a breakthrough. With the true qi churning in the air, Chu Xuan also entered a state of self-forgetfulness. True qi completely enveloped Chu Xuan. Even though Chu Xuan was panting heavily from exhaustion, he still couldn't manage to break through. Yet he felt his spiritual power growing stronger, sensing a sealed door drawing ever closer. Just as Chu Xuan was feeling perplexed. You have been staying at home for 5 days. Congratulations on obtaining the secret manual. Soul Enigma technique. Chu Xuan picked up the soul enigma technique. This is precisely a secret manual for practicing spiritual cultivation. Chu Xuan quickly mastered the contents of the book. Seeing no one around in the courtyard, he began to practice. He released spiritual qi from his body and began to search. All things possess a spirit. Any living entity can be sensed by this technique. Even outside the courtyard, as long as true qi reaches it, it can be sensed. Fish, insects, and birds. And the passionate monkeys. This made Chu Xuan sick to his stomach. It seems one shouldn't search for things randomly without reason. Just then, someone came to deliver the meal. Every time the meal is delivered, it's always by two people. But today, only one person came to deliver the meal. However, Chu Xuan sensed something unusual about the meal. Through the food basket, within this rice, there was actually a goo-worm egg. Chu Xuan discovered that someone intended to harm him. In that case, don't blame me for making you the first test subject. Chu Xuan immediately asked, "Who sent you?" The servant replied, "It was arranged by the head butler." Of course, Chu Xuan did not believe the servant's words. He immediately used the soul enigma technique to control the servant. As expected, the servant was easily controlled. Chu Xuan asked again who was behind the manipulation. Unexpectedly, it turned out that the servant had come voluntarily. So the servant was actually a cultist, intending to control Chu Xuan to go back and claim credit. The demonic king's court, though located in South Prefecture, does not belong to any nation. Its followers revere martial prowess and disregard laws, often engaging in fierce conflicts as part of their daily lives. Due to this combative culture, the population here is not large, but their strength should not be underestimated. The lineage of the evil king is particularly terrifying in power, posing a threat to the entire South Prefecture. Moreover, cultists are spread across various countries, blending in among the common people. Hard to identify and eradicate. Chu Xuan breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing it was cultists. However, he also feared that it might be instigated by the demonic king's court, so he inquired further. It turned out that the servant wanted to use Chu Xuan as a means to eventually control the Chu family. Having been embedded within the Chu family for years, he was waiting for just such an opportunity. Of course, he wouldn't reveal such a golden chance to anyone. Just as Chu Xuan was pondering how to inform his grandfather, the control of the soul enigma technique suddenly weakened. Seizing the moment when Chu Xuan was distracted, the servant fought back, forcibly breaking free from the soul enigma technique's influence. But he had also become a madman. The servant swiftly drew a spike from his fingertip. He thrust it directly at Chu Xuan. Chu Xuan, protected by his Vajra body, was not concerned about it. Given Chu Xuan's strength, he could easily handle it at this point. However, doing so would expose his true strength and lead to his recall to the ancestral home, preventing him from continuing to seclude himself in the courtyard. Thus, Chu Xuan could only dodge the servant's attacks. The servant charged forward with a loud shout. Chu Xuan had no choice but to activate his Vajra body and devise another plan. Just as Chu Xuan was caught in a dilemma, the sound of meal delivery echoed from outside the door. It turned out to be two servants delivering the meal. The two servants, hearing the commotion inside from outside, the two quickly pushed the door open and rushed in. They saw Chu Xuan in danger. Chu Xuan saw members of the Chu family arriving. He faced the attacks from the cultists. Chu Xuan immediately pretended to be scared to save his life. Even the two gatekeepers felt frustrated by Chu Xuan's behavior. The cultists in the courtyard desperately chased after Chu Xuan. In the end, he was successfully restrained by the two servants. Chu Xuan then crashed into the wall on his own. He knocked himself out directly. The two servants were speechless at Chu Xuan. So the two of them took the cultist and left. Chu Xuan stopped pretending and opened his eyes. He immediately circulated his true qi and employed the soul enigma technique. True qi passed through the courtyard wall, stabbing towards the cultist. True qi pierced into the cultist's brain like a sharp blade. In this way, Chu Xuan's secret will never be known by anyone again. On the sixth day, the system rewarded a box of Great Mythical Dan. This Great Mythical Dan is precisely the essential auxiliary Dan pill for breakthroughs. It seems it's time for him to make a breakthrough. And at this moment in the Chu house, the master is cursing loudly. It turns out he is angry at Chu Xuan's spineless behavior. Fortunately, the Chu family has their eldest young master, Chu Qing. That day, Sister Yun came to visit Chu Xuan. Chu Xuan was very happy. The two of them were having a meal at the table. Sister Yun reminded Chu Xuan to be more careful in the future. Chu Xuan, however, boasted arrogantly, "Just a few petty thieves, nothing to worry about." Sister Yun, on the other hand, heard that someone was chased by petty thieves until they ran into a wall. Chu Xuan, on the other hand, burst out laughing. But deep down, he was relieved that his good-for-nothing persona was still intact. Sister Yun brought another piece of news. It turned out that Grandpa was going to hold a family martial arts competition. This competition has no restrictions. Even servants and craftsmen can participate. Chu Xuan, without responding directly, called for Sister Yun. He gave Sister Yun a wooden box. Inside the box was the Dan pill collected by Chu Xuan. Chu Xuan watched as Sister Yun took the Dan pill and left. And the Dan pill given to Sister Yun was also a system reward for Chu Xuan, used to cultivate the spiritual system. Chu Xuan has also decided to enter seclusion to begin breaking through the profound threshold. With the aid of the Dan pill, Sister Yun easily defeated her opponent on stage. The referee immediately declared Chu Yun the winner. The master was also very satisfied with Chu Yun's progress. Chu Yun bowed and immediately withdrew. The next match officially begins. The next match is between the gardener Old Nailhead versus the eldest son of the Chu family, Chu Qing. Chu Qing faced the gardener and chose to forego selecting a weapon. It turns out that Old Nailhead was also a cultist, intending to take this opportunity to cripple the rising star of the Chu family. Old Nailhead no longer concealed his identity and launched an attack directly. The master of the house immediately recognized that Old Nailhead was using an evil art. Yet unexpectedly, Chu Qing transformed his finger into a sword and blocked the attack. He caught the incoming blade with his hand. He looked mockingly at Old Nailhead and inquired about the martial arts school from which his kung fu was inherited. Old Nailhead was also surprised by Chu Qing's exceptionally high level of skill. Just as the servants were about to step forward to help, Chu Qing directly stopped them. And then he struck with a forceful palm, directly hitting Old Nailhead in the chest. Old Nailhead was knocked off the ring. The arriving servants directly apprehended Old Nailhead. Chu Qing then easily secured victory. Chu Yun also hurried forward to show concern. Chu Qing then remembered that it was all thanks to Chu Xian's reminder. Therefore, he decided to visit Chu Xian after the competition. Chu Xian, on the other hand, failed to break through once again. Breaking through the profound threshold at the mortal stage is also extremely difficult. Today's reward has been generated. 1 copy of Dust Unity Art. Please check and receive it. Seeing there's a new treasure, Chu Xian quickly goes to check it out. It turns out to be a hidden aura internal cultivation manual, capable of concealing one's presence and merging with all things. Chu Xian immediately began practicing it. But early in the morning, he was woken up by Chu Yun. Chu Xian opened the door and saw Chu Yun. But he didn't expect that Chu Yun had come to say goodbye. It turns out that Chu Yun had broken through to the profound stage and was allowed to descend the mountain for training. All of this was largely thanks to Chu Xian's Dan pill. Chu Yun waved goodbye to Chu Xian. Chu Xian also waved goodbye with a smile. But he reflected that once Chu Yun left, there would be no one to talk or have meals with him anymore. Another day passed in the blink of an eye. Today's reward is the rushing thunder finger, which condenses spiritual power into thunder gathered at the fingertips. Due to Chu Yun's departure, Chu Xian feels lonely and decides to practice all night long. Unexpectedly, 2 figures were quietly approaching from a tree outside the wall. Just then, 2 uninvited guests arrived outside the house, both targeting Chu Xian. They quickly leaped down from the tree. The 2 easily vaulted over the courtyard wall and landed inside. Chu Xian also heard the sound at that moment. At that moment, Chu Xian was in the midst of a breakthrough. If he were forcibly interrupted, his meridians would be completely destroyed. There was no other way. Chu Xian had to focus all his energy on breaking through. One set up a spiritual net while the other entered the house to search for the person, only to find that the lights inside were still on. He had to approach slowly, only to discover that the energy inside the room was flowing at high speed. The person setting up the spiritual net also rushed over. They learned that the waste Chu Xian seemed to be breaking through the profound threshold. The 2 decided to test whether it was a trick by using poison darts. However, he was stopped by his companion. The 2 had come this time to capture Chu Xian and take him back as a hostage. If they were to forcibly interrupt him during his breakthrough, the consequences could range from severe mental impairment to death. Just as the 2 were discussing, a gust of wind swept by. The lights inside the room suddenly went out. The 2 of them sensed something was wrong. Suddenly, there was no sound inside the room. Even Chu Xian's presence could no longer be felt. The 2 of them simply kicked the door open and stood at the doorway, peering into the room. Yet, the 2 of them heard a clap of thunder. The person was struck directly by the lightning. lying stiffly on the ground, yet from inside the house came Chu Xuan's scolding. But the companions couldn't see at all who was speaking. With each scolding shout, Chu Xuan gradually revealed his figure. His companions were horrified, for they could sense no aura whatsoever from Chu Xuan. Yet Chu Xuan stood there calmly, explaining that it was merely a minor dust unity art. Upon hearing about the dust unity art, this person's expression also lost its composure. Since a spiritual net has already been set up outside, Chu Xuan decided to let him see his true strength. With that, Chu Xuan unleashed his full aura directly. Upon sensing Chu Xuan's aura, the thug was instantly terrified. Chu Xuan pointed forcefully, unleashing his full power with the long serpent spirit fist. Facing Chu Xuan's full force strike, the thug died on the spot. Even the house was struck, sending dust flying everywhere. Chu Xuan clearly did not expect his full force strike to be so exaggerated. Facing the blood-spattered courtyard, cleaning it up became a major challenge. Repelling the invaders. System extra reward. 1 spirit-consuming bloom. Chu Xuan, however, was hearing about the spirit-consuming bloom for the first time. As the spirit-consuming bloom broke through the soil before their eyes, sprouted and blossomed, it then proceeded to devour the 2 corpses one bite at a time. With the spirit-consuming bloom's butler-like cleanup, Chu Xuan was both amused and speechless at the scene before him. Spirit-consuming bloom started smacking its lips right in front of Chu Xuan. Chu Xuan intended to use the soul enigma technique to read the memories of the deceased. Chu Xuan placed his hand on the head of the spirit-consuming bloom. He activated his spiritual qi and began to employ the soul enigma technique. Sure enough, a vision appeared before his eyes. It turned out that the two intended to infiltrate the Chu family to release poisonous smoke, choosing to sneak in through the area with the weakest ancestral land defenses. It was precisely the courtyard where Chu Xuan resided. Chu Xuan secretly felt relieved, grateful that the poison gas had not been released. He also casually rewarded the spirit-consuming bloom with 2 celestial pills. As the spirit-consuming bloom withdrew, Chu Xuan also fell into deep thought. This martial arts competition had provoked the wrath of the evil cult. Their future retaliation might become even more frenzied. I have not personally encountered the Chu family, one of the 3 major families of the Qin Empire. In the Chu family, both the handsome men and beautiful women enjoy tea in a manner that reflects elegance and tradition. They often partake in refined tea ceremonies, appreciating the aroma, flavor, and artistry of tea preparation, which aligns with their sophisticated lifestyle. The Chu family's handsome men and beautiful women might occasionally drink tea in a casual, relaxed manner, such as sipping directly from the cup, especially in informal settings. However, in formal or ceremonial contexts, they would adhere to more refined and traditional tea-drinking etiquette. Just moments ago, Chu Xuan discovered that his inner realm had manifested. When it took on the form of a grain-sized stone, the system promptly and considerately rewarded him with a cultivation technique for external defense and internal mental refinement, the mountain-like art. It's just perfect for enhancing the cultivation of the inner realm. Could it be that this system utilizes AI technology? Its arrangements are always highly scientific, even more so than he himself understands the progress of his cultivation level. It can often predict steps in advance. This mountain-like art, even when viewed from the emperor stage, is a defensive technique that is in no way inferior, making it perfect for guarding against the retaliatory actions of the cult. Patriarch. A carrier pigeon message has arrived from the foot of the mountain. The scene shifts to outside the ancestral home of the Chu family, where a servant appears flustered and anxious. Steward Su has already. Chu Tianming looked astonished. The servant continued to report that more than 10 members of the younger generation of the Chu family were injured, and the list is still being verified and tallied. Damn these evil cults wreaking havoc and committing unforgivable sins. Old Master Chu clenched his fist and said fiercely, "This time the Chu family will take the lead, uniting with the 3 great families of the Qin Empire to jointly crusade against the cult. Let's see how much longer they can run rampant." Returning once again to Chu Xian's courtyard, Chu Yan's sweet voice called out, "13th brother." Chu Xian stood up, ready to give a loving hug. "You're back so soon." "Yes, I missed 13th brother and came back early." Chu Yun, without anyone noticing, had already brewed a pot of tea and brought it over for Chu Xian to taste. "I'm not thirsty, Sister Yun. What interesting things have you seen or heard down the mountain?" Chu Xian certainly didn't want tea. All he wanted was a loving hug. It can't be drunk once it's cold. Just then, Chu Yun was seen carrying a teapot. She poured the scalding tea directly onto Chu Xian's face, startling him so much that he cried out, "Yammeat!" turned out to be just a dream. Sister Yun came to visit me in the dream. As the old saying goes, in dreams it's just you and me, and you can do whatever you want. But when it comes to us it turns into, wait, this is all wet. It's not tea, then what is it? Who are you? System detection indicates that you may have depressive tendencies. Friendship reward. Celestial Spiritual Cat X1. To relieve stress. Sounds nice. Worried I might get depressed but not afraid I could be scared to death? A still shaken Chu Xuan muttered to himself. But this guy peed on my face on the very first day. Will it become a habit for him in the future? Waking me up with a shower every day, huh? I really need to train him properly. Looking at the meow alien in front of him, Chu Xuan frowned deeply. The meow alien promptly put on an adorable act. Pay attention to this sand pellet the size of a gallstone. In less than 2 days it has transformed into a small piece of land. This is Chu Xuan's inner realm. Think that's impressive? In the endlessly expanding vast space, it's still like a drop in the ocean. Chu Xuan searched through this immense starry void, finding nothing. Damn, talk about a slap in the face. Just said there was nothing, and what's this? Could there really be unidentified flying objects in the inner realm, and arriving in groups? Chu Xuan's thoughts were thrown into disarray by a cluster of snow-white, unidentified objects. Regaining his composure, Chu Xuan realized it wasn't. An unidentified flying object had intruded into the inner realm. But reality had penetrated into the inner realm. That meow alien. It was mercilessly scratching Chu Xuan's face. Indeed, every effect has its cause. My retribution has arrived. Joke. How dare a mere meow alien bully me, the mighty 13th young master? With Chu Xuan holding the celestial spiritual cat by the scruff of its neck, he launched into a verbal tirade. This is my 109th warning to you. Don't think just because you're kawaii and good at acting cute you can do whatever you want. From now on, when I'm practicing my skills, you are not allowed to. Before Chu Xuan could finish, the celestial spiritual cat pointed at the bowl behind it. Empty. Turns out it was just a nom-nom cat all along. I admit it's my fault for forgetting to feed you. After all, nobody's perfect, haha. Chu Xuan awkwardly reached out to put the food down. Apologizing isn't enough. I'll make sure you remember this. With that, the kitty unleashed a flurry of meow star fist. With food in hand, the celestial spiritual cat finally settled down and stopped causing a fuss. He only wants to be a celestial beauty cat. On the side, Chu Xuan exclaimed in admiration. With food around, you wouldn't spare me a single glance. And you call this my reward? Clearly, it's my punishment. A long-awaited knock sounded at the door. The servants never knock. I've told them to just leave the meals. 13th sister, on the other hand, is the type whose voice is heard before she's even seen. An assassin surely wouldn't be bold enough to announce themselves, would they? If someone dares to knock openly and honestly, they surely can't be a bad person. A figure in green robes came into view. It's been a while, hope all is well. Chu Xuan could hardly believe his own eyes. He later recalled that Sister Yun had told him before parting. Chu Qing would come to visit him whenever she had the time. He quickly invited his elder brother inside for some tea. I should have come to see you much earlier, but I've been tied up with trivial matters. If it weren't for you discovering the cultists, the entire Chu family of over 300 people would still be in the dark. If this had come to light, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Chu Qing immediately showered him with praise. Hearing this, Chu Xuan felt a bit embarrassed. I really didn't do much. You're giving me too much credit, big brother. A brief conversation ensued. It turns out that Chu Qing came this time intending to invite Chu Xuan to go down the mountain together as representatives of the Chu family, joining forces with Great Zhou and Purple Moon to eradicate the cult. Chu Qing became more and more enthusiastic as he spoke. This way, not only will your own safety be secured, but you'll also have the chance to make a name for yourself. When you return, grandfather will be so pleased that he might even lift the exile sentence on our 13th brother. But my cultivation level isn't high enough for me to leave the mountain yet. Chu Xuan, of course, was reluctant to leave this courtyard. That's not a problem at all. If you 13th brother want to go, I, your eldest brother, can plead with grandfather on your behalf. I'd even be willing to sign a military pledge if necessary. Chu Qing patted his chest as he assured Chu Xuan. I truly appreciate your kindness, eldest brother. But I still feel it's somewhat dishonorable. When the day truly comes that I can leave the mountain, it won't be too late for me to clear my name then. Chu Xuan actually had the audacity to spout such high-sounding principles. This made Chu Qing blush with shame, exclaiming in embarrassment, "I never realized 13th brother harbored such grand ambitions. I underestimated him and even thought of these petty tricks to excuse him." After saying this, the two reluctantly bid each other farewell and departed. Finally, it's over. Successfully pulled off the act. Didn't get exposed. The moment the door closed, Chu Xuan finally breathed a sigh of relief. Walking on the small path home, Chu Qing was still savoring the words of the 13th brother, sighing at how she had underestimated him all along, unaware that a dark figure in the bushes was secretly observing all of this. No wonder those two boys never returned. It turns out he was helping them. "Once I deal with that useless one inside, I'll come for you. Mwahahaha. Have you ever met a man who calls himself the world's #1 peeping Tom? He specializes in cultivating stealth techniques focused on stalking and underhanded tricks, and even arrogantly boasts that as long as he wishes, no being within the 3 realms can detect him. This man who observes from the shadows is called Lu Chang. Having just reached the spiritual stage, 3rd layer of cultivation, he had already become the deputy leader of a cult." Seeing Chu Qing walk away into the distance, he leaped out of the bushes in one swift motion, perhaps having crouched for too long. His legs were a bit numb and he didn't perform as well as expected. Despite the awkwardness of shaking the leaves off the trees, it didn't affect his cool landing pose at all. After all, there was no one around to see. He got up and immediately began scheming in his mind. Although the target in the courtyard was a bit of a good-for-nothing. But after all, he is Chu Chula's son. If he were to die, that old devil Chu Tianming must be feeling pretty awful too. If Chu Chulua isn't dead and returns to the Chu family, only to find out that his son was driven out by that old devil Chu Tianming and consequently harmed by others, how could he possibly stay in the Chu family any longer? Moreover, he could even control him to carry poisonous smoke into the ancestral home of the Chu family. How delightful! What a heaven-sent opportunity! Move! Move! Perhaps after resting for a while. In a flash, Lu Chang leaped again, a white streak zipping through the air, and in an instant, he had arrived in the courtyard. Seeing him again, he was hiding behind a pillar, secretly observing while feeling quite pleased with himself. His spiritual stage 3-layer cultivation level was indeed nothing to boast about, and it shouldn't even be the level of a deputy branch leader. But when it came to stealth techniques, this is a peerless treasure for destroying evidence and eliminating traces. Once summoned, it can immediately devour the lingering souls in the vicinity. A truly bone-devouring existence. It is called the spirit-consuming bloom, a reward for this otaku's homebound lifestyle. And this otaku is named Chu Xuan. This moment, he was sensing the spirit-consuming bloom. The memories of the deputy helmsman's life that had just been swallowed. There was that servant who put the goo in the food. And that flashy duo who barged in uninvited last night intending to release poisonous smoke. The final scene shows him puzzled, wondering why the previous ones who went had all gone silent. He then decides to go and check it out himself. Seeing this, Chu Xuan also looked embarrassed. This terrifying cult that strikes fear into people's hearts. It's just too monotonous. Even someone of the cabin master's caliber, when venturing into the world, only resorts to tricks like poisonous smoke. Beep. Reward incoming. Last time it was the spirit-consuming bloom. This time, it's the reward of the soul-sealing mark. Return to the room. Chu Xian's inner realm has appeared again. That piece of land is growing larger and showing irregular changes, probably related to his recent diverse training practices. However, aside from that, it remains completely empty. Does this mean there is still significant room for improvement in his cultivation level? However, no matter what, he can clearly feel the enhancement of his spiritual power. He gazed at the faintly visible soul-sealing mark in his hand and the sword-controlling technique placed on the table, 2 newly acquired techniques that Chu Xuan had recently obtained. Lost in thought, he realized that while the soul-sealing mark couldn't be tested for now, the sword-controlling technique was an Emperor stage-grade skill. If he could advance to the Emperor stage soon, even if evil cults were to attack again, he could rest easy. Truly, the journey stretches endlessly before me. I shall strive through heaven and earth in pursuit of my quest. It was time to seize the moment and focus on training. Not far away in a cave, a few cultists gathered around a bonfire, discussing why Deputy Leader Lu Chang hadn't returned yet. One speculated that he might have been discovered and killed by the Chu family, while another countered that there were no signs of any struggle found at the Chu family. Could he have betrayed them? But that seemed unlikely. Who would accept a cultist? Besides, betrayal never ends well. A white-bearded know-it-all chimed in, suggesting that Lu Chang might be biding his time, waiting for the right moment to release the poisonous smoke into the core territory of the Chu family. And the scar-faced man nearby seemed not to understand what Big Smarty Pants was saying. He immediately clamored to report to the royal court. Request the royal court to dispatch powerful individuals. That graceful beauty just disagreed. She thinks that if even the mere Chu family requires bothering the royal court, wouldn't it make her seem utterly incompetent? In the future, the royal court would never value her. Alright, the cult leader sitting leisurely on the wall has spoken. Inform Lu Chang not to wait for an opportunity anymore. Take action immediately. And also, Chu Qing, the prodigy of this generation from the Chu family. Chu Tianming, the old fox in charge of the operation against our cult, must be planning to use us as a whetstone to sharpen his junior. Well, I'll give him a real challenge. Pass the order. Locate Chu Qing's position. I will personally take action and end his miserable life. The three of them each accepted their orders and departed, but they had no idea of Lu Chang's exact whereabouts. Moreover, this time he was acting alone again, with no contact person to connect with. He had no choice but to use this one-time message transmitting orb. And it's one way, able to confirm the message was sent, but unable to receive a timely response. Upon receiving the message, please act immediately. Over here. It's almost mealtime soon. Chu Xuan exclaimed that today's meal is exceptionally sumptuous. He asked the servant if there was any special occasion to celebrate. It turns out that Chu Qing led the clan down the mountain and achieved a great victory in the operation to eliminate the cultists. The master is especially happy today and is hosting a banquet at the ancestral home to celebrate. Great victory? Yes, it was a great victory. This man possesses extraordinary skills, yet he willingly becomes what others see as a mere food lover. Simply because he has a homebuddy system, as long as he stays indoors, he effortlessly acquires various techniques and treasures. The man's name is Chu Xuan. By chance, he overheard the meal-delivering servants discussing the great victory of their Chu family's operation to eliminate the cultists down the mountain. However, he always had a vague feeling that something wasn't right. How could it be so fast? Still in that familiar cave. Big Smarty Pants, who had been waiting for a response in vain, firmly asserted that Deputy Helmsman Lu Chang must have already met his demise. Scarface quickly added, "That's just as well. At least it proves he truly didn't betray us." However, pretty nearby felt something was amiss, as no battle had occurred at the Chu family ancestral grounds up to now. Boss Faceless stepped forward to conclude, "Forget it, there's no need to worry about Lu Chang anymore. This joint purge operation by the major families has severely weakened our sect, costing us 1 stronghold and 4 void stage elders." Overwhelmed by emotion, he couldn't help but pound the stone wall beside him. Half of these losses were caused by the Chu family. It seems their strength is indeed formidable. For now, let's refrain from taking action against the Chu family. However, report the Chu family's actions to the evil king immediately, and let the demonic king's court deal with them. Meanwhile, we can redirect our focus toward other families. 3 days later, it's time for food lover Chu Xuan to indulge in his meal again. The He family has been infiltrated by cultists. Chu Xuan quickly grabbed a piece of meat to calm his nerves. The servant beside him continued to describe the details. The ancestral land of the He family had been released with poisonous smoke and flames, resulting in hundreds of casualties. Not only that, but 1/3 of the family's territory had been encroached upon by the demon cult, and the spiritual herbs in the fields had been destroyed as well. Chu Xuan chewed the meat in his mouth thoughtfully. Just 3 days ago, they were still holding a victory banquet. The cult's retaliation had come far too quickly, hadn't it? On the other side, at the ancestral land of the Chu house, a swift horse brought urgent news. All the elite experts near the ancestral land had already returned, and those who were farther away were already on their way back. Old Master Chu showed a relieved smile. "Excellent, but remember, we must strengthen patrols and sentry posts. Our Chu family must not repeat the mistakes of the He family." The servant continued to report. Within the ancestral grounds, 15 additional sentry posts have been added. The patrols around the ancestral residence have also been increased from once every 3 hours to once every 2 hours. Feeling somewhat relieved, Old Master Chu quickly inquired about his eldest grandson, Chu Qing, asking where he was now. It turned out that the young master had taken the lead in the eradication campaign and had reached the relatively distant Boahui County from the ancestral grounds. He was still on his way back and should not encounter any mishaps, especially since he was accompanied by several void stage elders from our clan. Chu Tianming finally let out a sigh of relief. Since our Chu family initiated the campaign against the cult, Why didn't they come after us first instead of targeting the He family? They came. Have you heard of the saying, grandfather and grandson share a deep, intuitive connection? Chu Tianming is worried whether the cultists have harmed Chu Xuan. Chu Xuan, on the other hand, is concerned about the ancestral land of the Chu family. Has also been targeted for retaliation by the cultists. Rest assured, young master. Most of the skilled fighters who went down the mountain have now withdrawn. It won't be so easy for them to attempt a sneak attack again. Moreover, this crackdown has yielded significant results. Many cultists were eliminated, some were captured alive, and only a few managed to escape. Altogether, it amounts to over 60%. The foundation of the cult in the Qin Empire has been shaken. The servant's confident voice echoed throughout the courtyard. Big Brother is truly impressive. It seems no one will disturb us anymore. He realized he had let slip and quickly corrected himself. Infiltrate our ranks. Chu Xian's even happier words echoed throughout the valley. It looks like we can take a break for now. Half a year has passed. Do you still remember this celestial beauty, Meow? It's now called Tiny Black. Do you think it's doing pull-ups? It simply failed to catch the bird. This moment, Tiny Black is glaring fiercely at its poop scooper. I actually let it go on purpose. Don't be unconvinced. Even though I haven't opened my eyes in the past 6 months, I've reached the void stage. I can sense every movement within 100 miles through mental perception. Don't you try to fool me. Chu Xuan, who was just showing off, turned back with a smile. He was about to strike a cool pose. But then he saw something he shouldn't have. Passing through the gate, through the swift wind, and then through a stretch of woods, 2 sausages come into view. Oh dear Wei, if love is a poison, you are my antidote. Without you I would be done for. Only to see a greasy man spouting nonsense. Yet it still made the woman exclaim, "You're so bad. I was originally a solitary iceberg, but you set me ablaze with desire." Seeing the woman before him falling for it, the sausage man pushed his luck even further, uttering another "How annoying. I was originally a startled bird, but you made me charge forward fearlessly." What followed were some indescribable scenes, so let's just replace them with this landscape painting. Is this damn expired dog food? It's blinding to scatter and nauseating to eat. Last time it was monkeys, this time it's even more disgusting. Spare me, please. Look at this lonely man and woman. They are about to play cards in the middle of nowhere. Little did they know, a voyeur miles away was observing them from a godlike perspective. He was watching their every move. The voyeur is named Chu Xuan. The person he was spying on was his 7th brother. Chu Xuan, whose eyes were stinging from the spiciness, did not actually have such a habit. But it was due to the soul enigma technique he acquired while staying at home. However, he hadn't yet mastered it to perfection and couldn't fully control it. An old 7, fully aware that Chu Xuan was confined here, deliberately came right under his nose to provoke him. If even the uncle can't stand it, the aunt certainly won't. He gathered chi at his fingertips. A branch snapped and flew off with a sharp crack. Oh my god, old 7 jolted, almost losing his balance. Meanwhile, the deeply immersed beauty, thinking it was some trick the man was playing, excitedly shouted, "What are you doing?" After looking around and finding nothing unusual, old 7, not wanting to spoil the mood, he quickly explained. "Was it you who just made me taste the bitterness of love?" After saying this, he pouted his lips. The beauty, clearly already deeply smitten, blushed shyly and closed her eyes, ready to lean in for a kiss. What could be more important than what's happening right now? Though the woman claimed to be shy, her actions spoke otherwise with honesty. Impressed. It's truly said that the shameless are invincible. The situation over there is intensifying, showing no signs of stopping despite offending everyone's eyes. Wei, let our hearts draw closer, unhindered by these silken barriers. The chaotic Chu Xuan has completely erupted. I can't take it anymore. You forced my hand. He threw a punch that stirred up waves upon waves, each stronger than the last. The 7th brother's buttocks were struck by an unexpected surge of wave force, causing a sudden clenching sensation. A piercing scream echoed through the valley. Help! It must be the cultists. We've definitely been betrayed by the Black Moon Pavilion. 7th brother yelled, holding up his torn pants as he ran back. Finally, Chu Xuan, now at peace, turned towards old 7th. Chu Xuan made an international gesture in the direction old 7th had left, muttering, "What a jerk." He slumped into the rocking chair, feeling as if he had lost at least half his life force, and planned to have a good long sleep. Meow Tiny Black had somehow jumped down from the tree without anyone noticing and was now taunting Chu Xuan. That was quite a heavy blow. The screams just now were truly heartbreaking. Enough to make anyone who heard them shed tears. Whose side are you even on? The damage I took is no less than his, okay? It's mental pollution. Do you even get it? However, the Black Moon Pavilion he mentioned when fleeing, I think I've seen it in a book before. It seems to have quite a significant background. Why would he bring that up? The man hasn't stepped out of the courtyard for half a year. He spends every day either reading books or petting the cat. Or sleeping soundly. And his strength had unknowingly advanced from the mortal stage to the void stage, a speed that can be said to be unprecedented. This otaku is named Chu Xuan, and just now, he merged his mental will and spiritual power into the void. He gave a harsh lesson to Brother Chi, who was playing dangerously right under his nose. He confirmed that he had indeed broken through to the void stage. Chu Xuan finally felt that he had gained a bit of self-preservation ability within the Qin Empire. With the various rewards he had accumulated from staying at home, he was not the least bit afraid even when facing a void stage peak expert. He cultivates the Emperor Manual, After half a year of seclusion, the reward has arrived, the Celestial Saber Scripture. A single supreme technique surpasses even the Emperor Manual. Who cares if I understand it or not? I'll just leave it to the system to comprehend. Now I'll never have to worry about being bored during sleepless nights again. In the blink of an eye, it's mealtime again. This time, however, he learned that the cult had suffered a major setback. After going underground, it caused significant losses to the Chu family. Especially half a month ago, a void stage elder from the Chu family was actually besieged and fell in battle. The reason for the ambush was that a cult paid a high price to purchase the elder's whereabouts from the Black Moon Pavilion and set up the trap in advance. It's Black Moon Pavilion again. He must seize the chance to investigate. Is this Black Moon Pavilion a pawn of the cult? Why did you betray us? Don't you know, young master? It is the most mysterious force in South Prefecture. As long as one can afford the price, they can purchase any intelligence, commission any task, or acquire any treasure at Black Moon Pavilion. Even if the Chu family knows that it was Black Moon Pavilion that leaked the elder's information, resulting in the elder being besieged and killed by cult experts. Yet we dare not confront Black Moon Pavilion. It is too powerful and too enigmatic, and moreover, the Chu family also acquires necessary resources from Black Moon Pavilion, while the demon cult purchases intelligence on the whereabouts of a Chu family elder. The demon cult must pay an absolutely steep price, as Black Moon Pavilion has always been ruthless and demands exorbitant fees. The Chu family also wishes to purchase intelligence on the cult, but the cost is too high, simply not worth the sacrifice. Otherwise, they would have already eradicated the cult. It seems Black Moon Pavilion intentionally inflates prices to maintain a delicate balance of power among multiple factions. If one side were to achieve complete victory, how could Black Moon Pavilion continue to reap profits? In fact, behind some war-torn regions or certain conflicts, there are traces of Black Moon Pavilion stirring the pot. Everyone knows how unscrupulous they are, but due to their extreme secrecy, immense power, and pervasive presence throughout the South Prefecture, no one knows the location of their headquarters. No faction or dynasty dares to attempt destroying Black Moon Pavilion. In history, there was once a powerful dynasty that attempted to destroy the Black Moon Pavilion within its borders. However, in less than half a month, that mighty dynasty itself became a thing of the past, while the Black Moon Pavilion was rebuilt. What? That powerful? This organization called Black Moon Pavilion is truly despicable. On one hand, they promised the royal family of the Qin Empire and the three great families that as long as the payment was sufficient, they would not accept commissions from cults in the near future. On the other hand, they openly admit that if the cults offer a sufficiently high price, Black Moon Pavilion would still accept their commissions. This is because the organization is extremely mysterious, with its presence spread throughout the entire South Prefecture, and no one knows the location of its headquarters. No faction or dynasty dares to destroy Black Moon Pavilion. This isn't something this YouTuber made up. It's what the servant delivering the meal told Chu Xuan. Chu Xuan, in turn, tactfully expressed his concerns about the demonic king's court. The information he received was, the Qin Empire has commissioned the Black Moon Pavilion to monitor the movements of the demonic king's court. In the event of an attack by powerful forces from the demonic king's court, intelligence will be obtained immediately. Since the Qin Empire has a contingency plan, Chu Xuan no longer needs to worry about a sudden attack from the powerful members of the demonic king's court. The demonic king's court has many enemies, and once their strong forces are mobilized, it will be noticed by multiple parties. Even if the Qin Empire cannot hold its ground, it can still seek assistance. What concerns Chu Xuan more is the Black Moon Pavilion, those cunning individuals who, after taking advantage of the Qin Empire, might then exploit the demonic king's court to gain even greater benefits. It's a pity that he can't be of much help, so he might as well continue staying home to cultivate. Chu Tianming seems to have already forgotten about him. Every day, aside from the servants delivering meals, no one else comes. In the 7th month, Chu Xian's cultivation level advanced to the void stage 3rd layer. He consumed a mythical void pill every day. His cultivation speed soared rapidly. You've been a homebuddy for 7 months. Reward: minor 5-element formation and formation plate. It's actually a formation. Chu Xuan was pleasantly surprised. He knew very well that formations were extremely rare in South Prefecture. Those capable of setting up formations are all true stage experts, and formation plates require an emperor stage master to forge. According to Chu Xian's understanding, it might be because South Prefecture is too underdeveloped. After receiving the formation and formation plate, Chu Xuan mastered the method of setting up the minor 5-element formation and the technique for forging formation plates. He realized that true stage cultivation level was not necessary. With his current cultivation level, he could also set up and forge formation plates. The lower the cultivation level, the weaker the formation set up and the formation plate forged. The reason why South Prefecture lacks formation path is, indeed, it's because it's too underdeveloped. Or perhaps it's due to a broken lineage of formation inheritance. There are 5 small flags representing the 5 elements: metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Chu Xuan laid down the formation, enveloping the small courtyard. Without activating the formation, the courtyard remains ordinary. However, if the formation is activated, Chu Xuan is confident that even a union stage cultivator could be trapped or even killed. Chu Xuan felt a bit more confident. As long as the visitor was not at the union stage 4th layer or above, he had nothing to fear. 7 months have passed. The 1-year deadline is drawing closer. Chu Xuan was filled with anticipation. The reward for staying home for a year. Absolutely surpassing the Emperor's manual. Above the Emperor stage are the Sovereign stage, Celestial stage, and so on. Chu Xuan estimated that the rewards for a year would at least be at the Celestial stage level, right? Just a few days before the 8-month mark, news that shook the entire Chu family arrived. Chu Qing was attacked by 3 elders of a cult and a deputy cult leader. Despite the desperate protection from the Chu family elders, she was still severely injured. The Chu family lost a void stage 3-layer elder. Chu Tianming was enraged. Even in the small courtyard, Chu Xuan could hear Chu Tianming's furious roar. Chu Qing was his key focus for cultivation. Chu Qing is the designated successor to the next family head. In the campaign to eradicate the cult, he performed exceptionally well. Once Chu Qing matures, not only will he be able to stabilize the Chu family's position, but he might even elevate it further. However, this woman with an enchanting figure actually harbored wicked thoughts toward the good-for-nothing young master. She truly lives up to being a member of a sinister cult. Just moments ago, when Chu Qing was ambushed, everyone immediately suspected the intelligence sold by the ruthless Black Moon Pavilion. Following this incident, everyone around Chu Qing is being thoroughly investigated to determine if there are any spies from the Black Moon Pavilion among them. If we can't handle the Black Moon Pavilion, can't we at least eliminate a few spies? Chu Tianming has left the ancestral home with the treasure artifact and personally taken action against the cult. The clan's treasure artifact was not taken along, as it is needed to guard the ancestral home. Chu Tianming's departure has prompted the Chu family to elevate the defense of their clan territory to the next level, with void stage elders now patrolling the grounds. Chu Qing was severely injured, while also being a prodigy of the Chu family. Deeply favored by Chu Tianming, Chu Yun is highly likely to become the next target. Chu Xian couldn't help but worry about Chu Yun. Chu Tianming personally took action. At this moment, the Chu family's territory must appear most vulnerable to outsiders. Chu Xian even suspected whether it was a diversionary tactic. Chu Tianming couldn't possibly be that foolish. Since he dares to leave the ancestral home, it indicates that the Chu family has a powerhouse of his level holding the fort. The Chu family's ability to stand tall for so long without decline surely comes with its own deep-seated strengths. It's just that Chu Xian hasn't had access to them yet. Chu Xian heightened his vigilance. With Chu Tianming leaving the Chu family's territory, it was highly likely that the cult's strong members would once again lurk in the shadows. As soon as night fell, Chu Xian activated the minor 5-element formation. The courtyard appeared completely normal, but anyone stepping into it would immediately be trapped within. With the minor 5-element formation in place, even if a battle occurred, he could ensure that no commotion would escape, preventing his true strength from being exposed due to the noise of combat. After Chu Tianming left, how to deal with cults? The servants are unable to know. Chu Xuan naturally had no idea how things would unfold. You've been a homebody for 8 months. Here's your reward. The 1,000-thread spiritual net. After 8 months the reward has arrived. Even a low-grade emperor item is far beyond what any treasure artifact can compare to. The 1,000-thread spiritual net is not an offensive emperor item, nor is it defensive. It belongs to the category of binding and sealing emperor items. With an emperor item in hand, Chu Xuan's confidence surged. Even if a Union Stage 7-layer expert were to attack, relying on the minor 5-element formation and the 1,000-thread spiritual net, he would be more than capable of making them regret their actions. Chu Xuan began to indulge in wild fantasies. Just like that. Once trapped and sealed by the 1,000-thread spiritual net, unless the opponent also possesses an emperor item, there is no way to break free. With ample time to recover from the consumption, finishing off the enemy naturally becomes a matter of course. Afterwards, 2 figures silently entered the Chu family's territory. The intruders were a man and a woman, both at the Void Stage, 2nd layer, elder-level powerhouses of the cult. The woman had an enchanting figure, though her face was painted in vibrant colors. Zhu Yan and Zhu Chong, under orders, donned the costly Void Walker cloaks they had acquired and infiltrated the Chu family's territory. Before long, the 2 arrived near the small courtyard of Chu Xuan, where Chu Chulua's son resided. Gazing at the courtyard, Zhu Yan suddenly conceived a twisted idea. This cultist woman with a wicked smile on her face. She actually wants to have the male lead's baby. She noticed that Chu Chulua's son is still single. This is her partner Zhu Chong. His gaze was filled with evil and perversion. This woman. He hurriedly transmitted a message saying, "Don't worry about Chu Chulua's son." Zhu Yan's eyes grew brighter and brighter, his smile increasingly wicked. If I were to give Chu Chulua a grandson monkey, and give that old ghost Chu Tianming a great-grandson monkey, just thinking about it is thrilling. Zhu Chong widened his eyes in shock. This woman is just too damn wicked. Zhu Yan's smile. If it really comes to this, will the Chu family come after me? Will they kill Chu Chulua's son? And Chu Chulua's grandson? Chu Chulua has returned. Zhu Chong shivered, imagining the scene. If this really happens, the Chu family will be utterly humiliated. How would Chu Tianming view it? For some reason, he actually felt a bit of anticipation. Let's not complicate things further, to avoid any unnecessary complications. She held Chu Chulua's son in her hands, effectively having a hostage. As she spoke, Zhu Yan walked step by step toward the small courtyard. Will the Black Moon Pavilion be aware of our actions? And sell it as intelligence to the Chu family? It does seem like a safer way to ensure our retreat. Zhu Chong followed with concern and said, "Those black-hearted ones from the Black Moon Pavilion." Zhu Chong thought it made sense. They secretly stirred up countless disputes, but unfortunately, Black Moon Pavilion was so powerful that even the demonic king's court was wary of them. 2 figures leaped into Chu Xuan's courtyard, making a whooshing sound. This man doesn't understand how to cherish a woman at all. The beauty just wants to have children with him. He actually shot her full of holes. Chu Xuan, the man, was resting on a recliner in the courtyard when he sensed someone intruding, feeling utterly helpless. Here come those suicidal cultists again. If they want to stir up trouble, can't they just leave me out of it? Why must they always target me? Zhu Yan and Zhu Chong smoothly entered the courtyard. The 2 immediately spotted Chu Xuan sitting on the recliner in the courtyard. Truly the son of Chu Chulua. Zhu Yan's eyes lit up, and his smile grew even brighter. Chu Xuan frowned. This figure is enchanting. But the face is a colorful monstrosity. What kind of expression is that? Could it be an e-girl? Could she have practiced some evil art that made everyone lose their minds? Come with me, sister. I'll take good care of you and definitely give you a chubby baby boy. Zhu Yan's smile gradually twisted as she reached out to grab Chu Xuan. Your mother. Chu Xuan was utterly disgusted, goosebumps all over his body. Old witch, you're dead. He originally intended to capture the person for interrogation, plant a soul mark to make them go back and trap the cult's strong ones, but who knew that as soon as Zhu Yan opened his mouth, he was utterly disgusted. Old witch, go to hell. He raised his hand and pointed. A bolt of lightning shot out from his fingertip. Bayu bayu bayu. Zhu Yan's body flickered with electric sparks, and thick black smoke billowed out, instantly riddling him with holes like a honeycomb. Beside him, Chu Xuan felt a chill surge to the top of his head, his whole body trembling uncontrollably as cold sweat poured down. It's terrifying. How old is he? He's even more frightening than Chu Xuan was back then. I must escape. Chu Xuan cursed Zhu Yan in his heart for having such a perverted idea. Now, not only was the mission unaccomplished, but he himself was riddled with holes like a honeycomb. He moved swiftly, retreating at full speed. Boom! For some reason, after he swiftly retreated, a chilling, murderous aura filled his vision, completely disorienting him. Not far ahead was clearly the courtyard wall, yet no matter how hard he tried to charge forward, he couldn't get any closer. Chu Xuan swallowed hard, his heart sinking like a stone. A true stage expert in the Chu family? How is that possible? Could it be that Chu Xuan has returned? Thinking of that figure who dominated the entire Qin Empire, the most exceptionally talented man in the history of the Chu family, and even in the entire history of the Qin Empire, Chu Xuan's heart kept sinking, plummeting endlessly. In either scenario, Chu Xuan knew he was doomed. Since that was the case, he had no choice but to fight with everything he had. A ruthless glint flashed across Chu Xuan's face as he prepared to release the demon smoke he had brought for this trip. Suddenly, a large hand seized him, giving him no chance to resist. It restrained and sealed him completely, leaving him unable to move. Chu Xuan sat in the chair, looking down at Chu Xuan, who was lying on the ground. Chu Xuan noticed that the corpse of Zhu Yan, riddled with holes, was being devoured by a strange little flower. In no time, Zhu Yan's body had completely vanished. His heart filled with terror as the small flower seemed to be watching him, eagerly poised as if ready to devour him too. The Chu family is very unusual. What on earth is that? Why is Chu Xuan's son so incredibly strong? The Chu family has been hiding their true strength all along, plotting something huge. You keep coming here to disturb me time and again. You cultists are really asking for death. Chu Xuan said coldly, not wasting any words. A small seal emerged, and he directly cast the soul sealing mark, planting a soul mark on Chu Xuan. To his horror, Chu Xuan realized he no longer harbored any hostility toward Chu Xuan, and could not muster any thoughts of resistance or attack. Deep down, he knew he had every intention of hostility and wanted to destroy him. What on earth is going on? Chu Xuan was terrified. His thoughts were normal, his consciousness clear, yet he felt no hostility whatsoever, no will to resist. Even if the other were to strike to kill him, he wouldn't fight back. He might even obediently offer his neck. The first time using the soul-sealing mark, Chu Xuan was filled with anticipation. He could sense Chu Xuan's current state through the soul mark. This implies that if the person marked with the soul mark dies, he can perceive it. Moreover, he can discern how the other person died, due to the unique nature of the soul mark. Chu Xuan felt that it might be possible to use the soul mark as a medium to project a wisp of his spiritual will into the past. I wonder if sending out a strand of my spiritual will from the small courtyard counts as violating the requirement to stay at home. Chu Xuan only thought about it and wouldn't risk sending out his spiritual will to leave. If it violated the system's requirements, his homestay record would be reset to 0. After staying home for so long in vain, he would have to start counting all over again. After planting the soul mark on Chu Xuan, Chu Xuan inquired about his intentions. In order to inflict losses on the Chu family, the cult escalated their actions with each move, paying an increasing price. This time they had actually brought along a wisp of demon smoke. Demon smoke is unlike poisonous fumes or toxic fires. Once released, the contaminated area is extremely difficult to cleanse. The cost required is more than 10 times that of dealing with poisonous fumes or toxic fires. Once individuals below the profound stage inhale demon smoke, they will experience mental confusion and fall into a state of madness. If demon smoke were truly released within the Chu family's territory, the servants would inevitably suffer severe casualties. The servants in the Chu family's territory are all carefully selected. They possess certain talents, come from clean backgrounds, and exhibit a high degree of loyalty, making them worthy of cultivation. If they suffer heavy casualties, it would undoubtedly be a significant loss. Demon smoke is refined from the corpses of the demon race and possesses strong contaminating power. Even evil cultivators dare not come into contact with it easily before breaking through to the spiritual stage. The demon race has been in ancient existence in the South Prefecture, with only a few remnants of their corpses found in certain ancient battlefields. Typically, only evil cultivators collect the remains of the demon race. The cult has truly gone to extremes this time. Chu Xuan watched as Chu Xuan was compelled to act according to his will. He ordered Chu Xuan to return to the cult's lair, release the demon smoke, and ambush the cult's powerful members, killing as many as possible. Under no circumstances was he to reveal anything about the Chu family. After instilling these commands, he let Zhu Chong leave. Zhu Chong was on the verge of a breakdown. His consciousness remained clear. His thoughts were normal. Yet he was powerless to resist the unseen will. He was filled with inner terror. Yet, there was not a trace of it showing on his face. Everything seemed perfectly normal, with no signs of being controlled at all. It's over. Zhu Chong knew he was finished. The Chu family is too terrifying. This eerie and gloomy conference room is the secret headquarters of the cult in Chu Commandery. This is already their third headquarters. They change locations every so often. This has caused some members to grumble and complain. I didn't join this cult just to be worked like a beast of burden. Honestly, this way of operating isn't even as comfortable as how those renowned orthodox sects live. But there's no other choice. Besides evading the investigations by the Chu family, it's also necessary to steer clear of the Black Moon Pavilion. Staying in one place for too long makes it easy for the Black Moon Pavilion to detect us. They might even sell that information to the Chu family at a high price. To prevent this from happening, the headquarters changes its location periodically. Only the chief, deputy chief, and a few trusted elders are aware of the headquarters' whereabouts. These individuals are reliable, making it almost certain that there are no spies from the Black Moon Pavilion among them. Wang Tu, the deputy leader of the Qin Empire's cult, who was seated in the place of honor, listened with gritted teeth. Damn it, you can discuss it privately all you want, but I'm still here. Do you think I'm already dead? What, the Chu family? Wait until Zhu Chong and the others come back, I'm definitely going to. He didn't even finish his sentence. Suddenly, he heard the followers at the cave entrance delivering a message. The deputy leader of the Qin Empire cult and the guardian of the Purple Moon Empire cult have arrived. It turns out these two came specifically to congratulate branch leader Wang on his housewarming. Meanwhile, some elders who love stirring the pot are gossiping nearby, sounding all polite, but in reality they're just here because they heard Zhu Chong and Zhu Yan infiltrated the Chu family to release the demon smoke, and they're waiting for updates. Even high-ranking officials like the deputy leader and the guardian have to come in person just to get news. Cults really treat their members like beasts of burden. Wang Tu waved his hand grandly, but it was already too late to stop them. Whether it was intentional indulgence or something else, no one could tell. Anyway, it left the deputy leader and the Dharma protector quite embarrassed. They could only praise Wang, the branch leader, saying that his subordinates were truly outspoken, and such subordinates are rare these days, the kind you lose one and there's one less. Wang Tu gave a helpless bitter smile and said nothing more. By the way, is there still no news from Zhu Chong and Zhu Yan? The deputy leader, as magnanimous as ever, was the first to break the awkward silence. Ha ha ha, although it's been quite a while, since that fellow Chu Chulua isn't around, there shouldn't be any major issues. However, compared to those two, I'm actually more curious about why the guardian of the Purple Moon Empire has come here. Guardian, perhaps you could elaborate in detail? It's a long story. The Qin Empire is governed by 4 families, each managing their own territories most of the time, but our Purple Moon Empire is different. The royal family of the Purple Moon Empire is very powerful and firmly controls the empire. Therefore, they were able to swiftly mobilize a portion of their forces and strike decisively, destroying one of our branch headquarters. The branch master at the Void Stage 4 layer and multiple elders all perished without exception, falling in battle. Precisely because of this, I have come this time solely for the purpose of retaliating against the Chu family. Brother Wang Tu, how about joining forces to kill that old devil Chu Tianming? Wang Tu snorted coldly. If the cult had the ability to kill Chu Tianming, why would they still be hiding and evading? As the head of one of the 3 great families of the Qin Empire, his strength is half-step into the Union stage, and he carries a treasure with him. Unless a Union stage expert makes a move, who could possibly kill him? The Qin Empire only has one Union stage, first layer expert from the Qin clan. To kill Chu Tianming, we would need a strong force from the royal court. However, the demonic king's court is not without its rivals. Union stage experts cannot easily leave, especially while the evil king is in seclusion. When it comes down to it, the Qin Empire is somewhat remote and impoverished, which is why the royal court doesn't prioritize it. If it weren't for its poverty, the Qin Empire's strength wouldn't be so weak. Seeing Wang Tu hesitate, the protector of the Purple Moon Empire persisted, unwilling to give up. With the combined strength of several of us, even if he carries a treasure, there's still a chance to kill him. The branch leader of the Purple Moon Empire was his own younger brother, who had fallen because of the Chu family, and he harbored deep hatred in his heart. Wang Tu said coldly, "A few people? To perish together? I'm not that foolish. This man is too arrogant. At the first meeting, he actually intended to drag the cult leader and deputy leader to perish together with his enemies, all because he is desperate to avenge his younger brother. This time he came prepared. Even if a wisp of demon smoke cannot kill Chu Tianming, the head of the Chu family, it will at least make him suffer. And Wang Tu wasn't about to indulge him. If Zhu Chong and the other don't return within a day, we will evacuate this place. He fears that the location has already been discovered by the Black Moon Pavilion. Chu Tianming is currently furious. It's quite possible that the Black Moon Pavilion would indeed pay a high price for this information. Once Chu Tianming attacks, it's uncertain how many of the people present would survive. He was almost certain that Chu Tianming would definitely target him first. He was undoubtedly the most dangerous person present. Elder Zhu Chong is back. Speak of the devil, Zhu Chong arrives. Why have you returned alone? What's the situation with the Chu family? Wang Tu frowned. Deep down, Zhu Chong was utterly distraught. Yet he couldn't defy that elusive will. Helmsman, we've uncovered crucial intelligence. I've returned specifically to report it and await your decision, sect leader. To prevent any unexpected developments, Zhu Yan is currently undercover within the Chu family. What intelligence? No, wait, Zhu Yan is undercover. Her face practically glows in the dark. Clearly Wang Tu has no suspicions at all. Zhu Chong glanced at the deputy leader, hesitating for a moment. The deputy leader seems to have noticed something off about me. Damn it, it's up to you now, hurry and detect my anomaly. Indeed, something's off. The deputy leader patted Zhu Chong on the shoulder and said firmly, your subordinate, Elder Zhu Chong, must have eaten something bad. Look, his face is all purple. Hurry up and share the intel, then go handle the big mission. You all are working way too hard. Zhu Chong's face turned dark upon hearing this. Deputy leader, you're absolutely brilliant. The cult is finished. The Chu family recently noticed Zhu Chong getting close to Wang Tu and the other person. While transmitting a message, he was also pulling something out. Suddenly, a fierce gray light erupted. Zhu Chong made his move, striking with full force from the very start. Wang Tu, caught completely off guard, had half his body shattered. His spirit wavered, teetering on the brink of annihilation in an instant. The sudden turn of events left everyone stunned. What just happened? No one could have pulled off such an incredible act of betrayal except the man standing right before us. And the one who executed this brilliant counterintelligence maneuver is our protagonist, Chu Xuan, a man who never sets foot outside his door. A shut-in who can receive various divine skills as rewards from the system just by staying at home. Just now, Zhu Chong was implanted with a soul mark by Chu Xuan. He involuntarily unleashed a full-force strike, catching the unprepared cult leader Wang Tu off guard and nearly sending him to his demise. This also stunned everyone present, while the other cult members also affected by the demon smoke. At this moment they could only stand there, dazed and motionless. What are you doing? The Purple Moon Empire's guardian's newly ignited plan for revenge has already gone up in smoke, he shouted hoarsely. I could have quietly stayed hidden and avoided disaster, but this suddenly caught Zhu Chong's attention. Then die for me. Zhu Chong dashed forward. The Purple Moon Empire's guardian couldn't dodge in time. He was instantly severely wounded, but did not perish. And Zhu Chong, completely letting himself go, roared at the top of his lungs. What cult, what Dharma protector? None can withstand a single palm strike from me. What madness is this? The Chu commandery branch is about to be destroyed by you. The defeated guardian still gritted his teeth, holding on. Zhu Chong of Chu commandery let out a ridiculous laugh. Then he gave an international friendly gesture. What is the mere Chu commandery? In the entire Qin Empire's cult, who can stand against me? I am the master of the cult. I am eternal and immortal. Only I am qualified to be the leader of the Qin Empire's cult. What else could the protector say at this moment? He couldn't win in a fight. With his last ounce of strength, he roared towards the elders outside the cave. Zhu Chong has gone mad. Kill him quickly. As soon as the words fell, several figures rushed in through the door. Protector, do not panic. The Chu commandery 8 demons are here to protect you. The leading elder was none other than Zhu Chong's master, who naturally would play the emotional card. He had accompanied Zhu Chong during his first act of forcibly seizing a civilian woman when he came of age. Now that Zhu Chong was repaying kindness with betrayal, he couldn't blame the elder for disregarding their past ties. The other 7 demons couldn't bear to listen any longer, and urged him not to waste words on someone doomed to die. The elder made up his mind and prepared to deploy the rebellion-suppressing formation to subdue the unfaithful disciple. Before he could deploy the formation, a golden light had already gathered at Zhu Chong's fingertip. A beam of golden light shot straight toward the old man, who turned pale with shock. So much nonsense, and yet you couldn't withstand a single move. I've long been fed up with your endless chatter. Finally, some peace and quiet. Zhu Chong looked smugly at his former master, now collapsed before him. The stunned cult members were utterly panicked at this moment. Even more panicked than Messi during the recent 1-2 defeat, they scattered in all directions. He's now fighting recklessly, all offense and no defense, burning through his life force to forcibly boost his cultivation level. In the end, it will only lead to his body exploding untouchable. Retreat quickly. Never underestimate this shut-in who only knows how to rely on pills. Just moments ago, Zhu Chong, who had been marked with a soul mark by him, he actually single-handedly destroyed a branch of the cult. This forced the severely injured branch leader to relocate for the 4th time. What a pleasant surprise to receive such good news while just staying at home. Due to Chu Xuan staying indoors and being a homebody, he successfully countered the cult. The system directly rewarded him with 10 years of cultivation level. Before he could even finish stretching, Chu Xuan exclaimed in amazement, "Zhu Chong is awesome. He actually did it." After the excitement, he couldn't help but recall that ever since he broke through to the void stage and reached the union stage's first layer, the speed of his strength growth had noticeably slowed down. At this rate, staying at home for a year would probably get him to that level, but he still felt it wasn't secure enough, as it might not be sufficient to handle the experts from the demonic king's court. If strength isn't enough, make up for it with money. Chu Xuan is determined to become the strongest man in the Qin Empire through taking drugs. How could he forget the boxes of Dan pills in his warehouse, rewards from the system? He was practically living on those pills. Patting his round, full belly with satisfaction, he let out a contented burp. Suddenly, a Chu Xuan rang out, and his brows furrowed as if facing a formidable enemy. In an instant, he dashed to the corner of the yard, leaned against the wall, and vomited out what seemed like a waterfall. Damn it, could it be that these medications have some conflicting effects? After regaining his composure, Chu Xuan pondered deeply. Ugh, another waterfall. Just never ends. It's true that you shouldn't eat things carelessly or speak recklessly. Rushing things is definitely not advisable. Chu Xuan, having come to his senses again, decided it's better to just sleep soundly and stay at home peacefully. After all, he should already be at a stage similar to Chu Tianming's, making him one of the top powerhouses in the Qin Empire, right? Lying on the recliner, Chu Xuan thought about this and actually felt a bit bored. He really wished a few more cults would show up, preferably all the cults from Chu Commandery. He'd take care of them all, providing food, shelter, and even handling their burials. Otherwise, it'd just be too dull. How arrogant is this old man, to have scolded the manager of the Black Moon Pavilion, the most mysterious organization in the Qin Empire, so harshly. This old man is called Chu Tianming, the head of the Chu family, one of the 3 major families in the Qin Empire. Originally, the two of them were quite polite at the beginning of this private meeting, exchanging pleasantries. "Long time no see, head of the Chu family. Shopkeeper 1 personally came out to greet me. This old man truly has quite the face." Of course, what a load of nonsense. You know about the trouble with the Chu family, don't you? If it wasn't you who leaked the information, I'd cut my own head off. Head of the Chu family, please calm down. Cough. Shopkeeper 1. You sent word to me saying you had important intelligence concerning the Chu family. Chu Tianming knows. It's no use for him to dig deeper into this matter. So he sat down, let out a sigh and said, "Let's skip the pleasantries and get straight to the price." Chu Tianming suddenly opened his eyes, his brow furrowed deeply. "Ha ha ha." Wan Chong laughed heartily, praising Chu Tianming for his straightforwardness. Chu Tianming slowly picked up his teacup. "Then I won't stand on ceremony. 1,000,000 spiritual crystals." As soon as the words were spoken, Chu Tianming widened his eyes in shock. "You little brat, why don't you just go rob someone?" Enraged and humiliated, Chu Tianming stood up in fury, ready to explode. And Wan Chong, having seen his share of the world, calmly advised Chu Tianming not to rush, suggesting he listen to half first and pay only if he found it worthwhile. This proposal proved quite effective. Listening wouldn't hurt. Demon smoke, the Chu family. Just hearing these 2 words, Chu Tianming was already grinding his teeth in anger, as he was well aware of how formidable demon smoke was. He directly tossed out 500,000 spirit crystals, urging shopkeeper 1 to continue. Wan Chong heard that a cult guardian recently arrived from the Purple Moon Empire. The two were left staring at each other, speechless. This was definitely not a forbidden scene. After a moment of silence, one urged to continue, while the other insisted on handing over more. After receiving a full 1 million spiritual crystals passed by Chu Tianming, Wan Chong began to explain the whole story. According to accurate information, the cult guardian specifically brought demon smoke from the Purple Moon Empire, and the cult in Chu Commandery is planning to launch an attack at the Chu family's territory. Look at his smug expression. He has no idea that the so-called accurate intel he's boasting about has already been turned into history by Chu Xuan. Chu Tianming also felt that this piece of information was completely not worth $1 million. Does he think I'm a fool? Meanwhile, Wan Chong wore an arrogant expression, as if he were the savior of the Chu family. Ahem, it turns out he hadn't finished speaking. If that were all, he would feel guilty even charging 300,000. As everyone knows, the Chu family's defenses are extremely tight. A mere 2 cultists are hardly a threat. But this time the situation is far from ordinary. The cultists have managed to acquire 2 Void Walker cloaks. Hearing this, the fickle Chu Tianming tensed up once again. It seems that even he himself isn't confident in his defense against the Void Walker cloak. After calming down, Chu Tianming repeatedly verified the authenticity of the information and received a firm confirmation from Wan Chong. He also promised that if his intelligence was incorrect, he would be willing to compensate threefold. Additionally, he mentioned that he happened to have a magical artifact specifically designed to counter demon smoke, which he wanted to sell to Chu Tianming. Hearing this, Chu Tianming suspected that he had still been tricked by the cunning Wan Chong, but he couldn't show it. He warned Wan Chong with a chilling tone that if he found out the Void Walker cloak had been sold by the Black Moon Pavilion, he would make sure Wan Chong could never utter those 3 harsh words again. With that threat laid out, he waved his hand to conclude their pleasant transaction. On the way back, Chu Tianming grew increasingly uneasy. What the hell does just happen to have it mean? That black-hearted Wan Chong is definitely playing both sides. But it's definitely too late to go back now. That's exactly what Wan Chong had in mind, selling the same piece of information twice. Once I have some free time, I'll make sure to tear down that damn Black Moon Pavilion. Damn it, this is infuriating. What incredible self-control it takes to turn down such a tempting offer from this charming young girl to live together. Chu Yun, the girl, had just accompanied her grandfather, Chu Tianming, to the Black Moon Pavilion. Upon returning, she immediately went to the residence of her 13th brother, Chu Xuan. She told him that their grandfather had spent $1 million to acquire intelligence, hearing that a cult would soon send powerful members to cause trouble in Chu Commandery. He watched as Sister Yun was happily playing with that celestial beauty Meow. He couldn't bear to tell her his true level. He was afraid of scaring her, so he scratched his head. He grinned sheepishly. No wonder he's been hanging around this shabby yard lately. He even caught sight of some void stage elders. Chu Yun continued to explain. Yes, the head steward has also been patrolling everywhere lately. I heard that the cult has obtained a magical artifact that can conceal their whereabouts. It seems I need to be even more careful about concealing my aura recently, to avoid the butler discovering my true stage and causing unnecessary trouble. But the elder on border patrol actually requires the use of void stage and concealment artifacts. Could it be the Void Walker cloak? That thing is undetectable below void stage 3 layer. Lost in thought, Chu Xuan was abruptly awakened by Sister Yun's call of Brother 13. Come back to the ancestral home with me. I will plead with Grandpa for mercy. Chu Xuan certainly had no intention of going back to face Chu Tianming's unpleasant expression. Besides, staying here promised continuous surprises and abundant rewards. Therefore, he flatly refused Chu Yun's kind offer. Stop right there. I'm living very comfortably here, and the recliner is quite cozy. I won't be going back. Chu Yun believed the place was unsafe and wanted to persist in his concern. The cult is taking action. Being so far from the ancestral home, it definitely isn't safe here. The leader of the Black Moon Pavilion personally told Grandfather. Chu Yun looked utterly pitiful, the kind of look that would soften any man's heart. But our male lead was no ordinary man. His mind raced with thoughts. The cult's branch has been blown up. What else could they possibly do? She noticed that Chu Xuan remained silent. Chu Yun, thinking he had moved her with his sincerity, continued to speak ominously. I've heard that the cult has a high-ranking figure who brought demon smoke to Chu Commandery. That demon smoke is ruthless. With the 13th brother's level, a single encounter could mean death or severe injury. Hearing this, Chu Xuan couldn't hold back anymore and burst out. spraying a mouthful of soda water. When did this happen? Master Wan said. It just arrived today. No wonder even the head steward came out. Black Moon Pavilion, you might as well change your sign to Black Heart Pavilion. If it weren't for Zhu Chong blowing up the Chu commandery branch in time, the clan territory would probably be in chaos by now. She noticed Chu Xuan spacing out again. Chu Yun plopped down on the recliner. It really is comfortable. Sister Yun, what are you doing? I'll stay here to keep 13th brother company. Not going back. Chu Yun replied with an innocent look. Little sister, be good. It's not proper for a girl like you to live with me. Go back to the ancestral home. Your 13th brother will be fine. Chu Yun still couldn't rest easy. But what if the cult followers come and Elder happens to be away? What should we do then? Looking at Sister Yun Chu Xian's shy face, he said seriously, I will step in. Chu Yun showed a polite smile and then stood up from the lounge chair. 13th brother is getting more and more humorous. I do hope there's something really going on. I hope 13th brother can stay quietly in a safe place and not take any action. Chu Xuan, afraid of being exposed, quickly explained. How dare I act recklessly? I'm not even a warm-up for the cult's experts. Sister Yun, don't worry, I will definitely protect myself. Can we go back now? Even after saying all this, Chu Yun still told him with a proud and aloof expression. I insist on staying here because it's truly comfortable. Headache. Upon returning to the ancestral home, Chu Tianming immediately summoned the elders to discuss how to counter the potential attacks that the cult might launch next. Our current strategy of purely defending is too passive. We should lure the enemy deep into our territory. Once any cult members enter our clan's grounds, they are to be eliminated without exception. Let these scum know the full extent of our power. Patriarch, Little 13 is still residing at the border of our clan's territory. Do you think we should? Suddenly, an elder recalled Chu Xian's presence in the dangerous area and expressed his concern to Chu Tianming. Speaking of that guy, Chu Tianming lowered his voice unconsciously. I've already sent Chu Yun to bring Chu Xian back. If he returns, there's no need for anyone to be particularly kind to him. It might help temper his character. If he doesn't come back, just keep a close watch on him. If he were to die just like that, it would only serve to tarnish Chulua's reputation in vain. Waking up every day to a figure that's absolutely stunning. Having a girl say good morning to you feels like a gentle warmth that brightens your day from the start. It's a simple yet heartwarming moment that can bring a smile and a sense of being cherished. This girl with an amazing figure is named Chu Yun. Just moments ago, she ignored the male lead's feigned refusal and she insisted on moving into the same courtyard with him. 13th brother. Sister Yun, you're up so early. Although I haven't encountered any cult members for now, I still need to diligently cultivate myself. Chu Xuan doesn't say it out loud, but he's well aware in his heart that Sister Yun, over the years of hard work and persistent practice, has already reached the profound stage 2 layer. No wonder that old fellow holds her so dear. He casually tossed a book to Chu Yun. It landed squarely in front of her, perfectly placed just within her reach. Startled, Chu Yun picked up the manual and was shocked once more. Grand Emperor Luo Manual, this is an emperor stage cultivation technique. You usually neglect your cultivation, so why would you have such a book? You don't even consider whose courtyard this is. The previous resident here was my father. Chu Xuan would never tell the truth. He casually made up an excuse to brush it off. After all, it was to help Chu Yun achieve twice the result with half the effort. Just keep practicing this way from now on. This is something good left behind by my father. Chu Yun didn't doubt it at all. Then I'll humbly accept your kind offer. As for the Chu house, things were far from calm and peaceful there. Outside the main gate, 2 elders were watching the inner chamber, where a figure was pacing back and forth restlessly. It had been 3 days, and they had not consumed a drop of water or a grain of rice. He hasn't had a drop of water to drink, nor has he even visited the outhouse. Truly worthy of being the family head, this internal circulation is top-notch. The 2 of them were chatting happily, completely unaware of Chu Tianming's gradually stiffening expression. At this level of cultivation, can't you 2 use telepathy? Do you think I'm deaf? Chu Tianming, who had stopped pacing, scolded the 2 into silence, but it was also possible that they had switched to telepathy. Either come quickly or don't come at all. What's up with this evil cult dawdling around? It turns out he was troubled by the news from the Black Moon Pavilion. As the family head, he couldn't afford to slack off even a bit during such a critical moment for the family's survival. But 3 whole days and not a single peep. Crossing the threshold, Chu Tianming was still grumbling. It's true what they say. It's not the thief you fear, but the thief who's watching you. Chu Taming pointed at the sky and cursed. Shameless scoundrels. If you have the guts, face me head-on in a fight. Hiding and cowering, what kind of heroes are you? Elders above the void stage. Go out and take a look. What's the matter with those good-for-nothings from the evil cult? You know, after an intelligence agency sells a piece of false information, what consequences might they face? As the most mysterious intelligence organization of the Qin Empire, the Black Moon Pavilion unexpectedly used an outdated piece of information in exchange for 1 million spiritual crystals from the head of the Chu family. And the culprit behind the expiration of this million-worth piece of news is none other than this otaku, Chu Xuan, right in front of us. Chu Tianming was furious. He had spent 1 million spirit crystals to buy the news that an evil cult was about to infiltrate the Chu family's territory to release demonic smoke. He had waited at home for 3 whole days, but not only did nothing happen, he also ended up losing face in front of his subordinates. Destroyed. Master Wan looked utterly incredulous. The young man who came to deliver the news patted his chest and assured him that the evil cult had fallen into internal strife. A deputy leader named Zhu Chong had overstepped his bounds and rebelled against his superiors. The original site was blown to pieces. Not to mention the demonic smoke, even the protector of the Purple Moon Empire was left half dead. It was said that Zhu Chong had exploded to death, his flesh and blood splattering all over the protector. Now the protector himself had gone completely mad. Perhaps the subordinate's report was too vivid. Master Wan's face gradually darkened. Should we prepare compensation for the Chu family? The young man quickly changed the subject. Master Wan gave a sly smile. Compensation is absolutely out of the question. The intelligence error is not just our fault. It also damages the reputation of Black Moon Pavilion. Don't you want to get promoted in the future? Noticing the young man's hesitation, Master Wan quickly added fuel to the fire. Taking a step back, neither of us wants to lose our year-end bonus, right? The young man came simply to deliver a message, but ended up entangled in a matter that could jeopardize his career. He was at a loss. I heard that Black Moon Pavilion headquarters is currently laying off staff. After working for so many years, I'm set for life, but you're still young, Master Wan. Pressing step by step, the young man finally gave in. What should we do, OP? The method lies with you. The young man pointed at himself, asking with a look of astonishment. Although the intelligence was flawed this time, if we offer more compelling information to the Chu family in exchange, not only will we avoid compensation, but we can also restore our reputation. The building owner solemnly patted the young man on the shoulder. The evil cult is treacherous, but I still need you to go there once more. Seeing the trust in the landlord's eyes, the young man nodded with a mix of belief and doubt. And at this moment Chu Xuan was leisurely staring at the sunset, lost in thought. That old fellow Chu Tianming should soon find out about the evil cult. The Black Moon Pavilion will probably take some action as well. I am now at the Union stage. Chu Yun will soon break through to the profound stage 3 layer. It won't be easy for the evil cult to invade anymore. If I could control the Black Moon Pavilion, I would be able to control everything. Unfortunately, there's no opportunity at the moment. Lost in thought, the servant brought the meal. Young master. He noticed the servant looked unfamiliar and kept avoiding eye contact. Chu Xuan saw through it clearly and said, I know. Just leave it here. Except for the evil cult and the Black Moon Pavilion. How many factions are there in total? What exactly is this piece of news? How could it make a man who hasn't used the restroom for 3 days as happy as a 70-year-old man? The old man's name is Chu Tianming. As the head of the Chu family, one of the 3 great families of the Qin Empire, he had just been worrying endlessly about the impending invasion by the evil cult. The sudden call of family head from his subordinate startled Chu Tianming, jolting him to attention. What's the rush? Has the evil cult already invaded? He was already trembling uncontrollably. No, this time it's good news, absolutely fantastic news. The subordinate realized they had caused the master's misunderstanding and hurriedly explained. What? Have you found something out? The old master's anxious heart relaxed just a little. The evil cult's branch in our Chu commandery has been blown up. As he said this, the young man's eyes were also filled with disbelief. Chu Tianming's face actually became distorted. The house collapsed, beams broke, windows shattered, tiles ruined, corpses filled the courtyard, and blood stained the walls. You're so full of these fancy phrases, are you preparing for the imperial exams? The young man quickly corrected himself, saying there were also traces of the helmsman's exertion and the evil cult elder's self-destruction. The evil cult must have encountered an unexpected enemy, couldn't hold their ground, and barely managed to retreat, severely damaging the evil cult's branch and defeating them. To describe Chu Tianming at this moment, there's no better fit than a line from an internet song. Little old man, do you have many question marks? This person must have an extremely high cultivation level. And with this, we no longer need to worry about the issue of demon smoke. The young man finally vented his relief. Upon hearing such news, the Chu family's first reaction would surely be the same as the young man's. However, this old man snorted coldly and then let out a cunning pig-like laugh. Ha ha ha, you black-hearted Wan Chong. Let's see how you handle this now. After catching his breath, he turned around and invited the young man to join him for a trip to Black Moon Pavilion. He just wanted to see how Master Wan would manage to pay the triple compensation. Otaku Chu Xuan was wandering aimlessly in his own yard, and accidentally ended up outside Chu Yun's door. He sensed through the door that Chu Yun was on the verge of a breakthrough. Coincidentally, Chu Yun came out to get some fresh air. How are you feeling? Brother 13, your courtyard is truly a treasure trove of feng shui. Cultivating here. Afraid that Chu Yun might propose the unreasonable request to stay longer, Chu Xuan quickly suggested that if she wanted to make a breakthrough, it would be better to return to the ancestral home. After all, if she were to break through here, he wouldn't be able to protect her. And what Chu Yun picked up on was that Brother 13 could actually sense that she was about to make a breakthrough, which made her incredibly happy. Please miss, I'm just lacking in cultivation level, not without cultivation level. Since it's almost time, you should go back. Breaking through is a serious matter, and not something to be taken lightly, Chu Xuan said with a dejected expression. The technique I gave you, make sure that old ghost Chu Tianming doesn't see it. Just thinking about him annoys me. At this moment, Chu Yun's mind was still preoccupied with the imminent breakthrough. Got it, 13th brother. Huh, so early in the morning. Someone is heading toward the small courtyard. If someone were to come after you've been imprisoned for nearly a year, and voluntarily offers you a way out, restoring your freedom, how would you react? But our male lead decisively chose to refuse. The reason is simple. He's a homebody, and staying in this courtyard allows him to continuously receive system rewards. It's even more satisfying than using cheats. Just now, Chu Xuan finally managed to persuade Chu Yun, who had been living with him for almost a month, to agree to move back to the ancestral home to break through to the next stage. Footsteps were heard outside the door. The person approaching was none other than Chu Tianming, the one whom Chu Xuan always referred to as Old Ghost or Old Thing. Just as he was wondering what this old thing was here for, Chu Tianming spoke up. He didn't even greet the elders, and Chu Xuan immediately retorted. This unworthy one paying respects to you might only disgrace the Chu family's reputation. This startled Chu Yun beside him, breaking out in a cold sweat. It seems 13th brother still holds a grudge over being demoted to this place merely for sneezing back then. A hopeless case, still speaking without restraint. Old man, it seems you have no intention of returning. Enraged, Chu Tianming frowned deeply and said through gritted teeth. But upon seeing Chu Yun nearby, he suddenly burst into laughter again. It looks like you're about to make a breakthrough. All thanks to 13th brother's excellent care these past few days. You truly are a fine girl of the Chu family. Once your grandfather passes away, the Chu family will have to rely on you. You flatter me, grandfather. I still have several older brothers ahead of me. If there's any reliance to be placed, it should be on my elder brothers. The others are doing quite well. If only they were all like your 13th brother. The Chu family would probably be done for. If Cholua knew what you've become now, he would surely regret being your father. Upon hearing this, Chu Xuan could no longer contain his emotions and erupted in anger. The outburst felt satisfying in the moment, but he immediately regretted it afterward, even revealing just the faintest trace of his aura. Union stage expert Chu Yun, of course, had no idea what had just happened and asked innocently, "What union stage expert?" Although it was just a faint trace of aura. But that aura seemed like the true chi fluctuations of a union stage expert. Chu Tianming was instantly excited, but his joy lasted no more than 3 seconds. The young man behind him retorted, "How could that be? Within the borders of the Qin Empire, aside from you, there is no other union stage expert. Could it be?" Before the young man could finish, Chu Tianming waved his hand dismissively. "It might have been my illusion. That aura vanished in an instant. I haven't encountered a union stage expert in years, so it wouldn't be strange if I made a mistake." After saying that, he turned his head and transmitted a message to the young man. I know what you want to say, the expert who severely wounded the evil cult. But this is not something to be discussed in front of the juniors. We'll talk about it later. Understood. Chu Tianming then extended an invitation to Chu Yun, asking her to accompany him to the Black Moon Pavilion once more. Chu Yun readily agreed. After all, she would need her grandfather's protection during her breakthrough. As for you, this rascal, you are to receive 50 strikes with the staff and then return to the ancestral home. It was originally the elder trying to save face and give Chu Xuan a way out, but Chu Xuan simply wouldn't take it. He snapped back again. I'm doing just fine here, no need for grandfather to worry. Can he tolerate this? Chu Tianming snorted coldly, turned around and walked away without looking back. The naive Chu Yun hurriedly tried to mediate. Brother 13, it's only 50. Grandpa is already giving you a way out. But Chu Xuan, stubborn as a mule, refused to acknowledge it. It's just a pity that blood ties are undeniable. Chu Tianming ultimately still worries about this grandson. With his allegiances unclear for now, it's worth paying a little attention to this situation. But I can't let Chula's lineage die out. This old man is currently blackmailing the most formidable intelligence agency of the Qin Empire. Black Moon Pavilion. Just because not long ago, this old man spent $1 million at Black Moon Pavilion. He bought a piece of false information. The intelligence from Black Moon Pavilion was the first to cast doubt on me. Chu Tianming, with an air of superiority, went straight to the point. And this bun hairstyle belongs to the back of the head of the Black Moon Pavilion's master. The intelligence is not wrong. It's just that the evil cult encountered an unexpected incident along the way. Let's take another side photo. How could the intelligence be wrong? What the hell are those bastards from the evil cult up to? Chu Tianming, who had been cheated out of $1 million, wasn't panicking at all at the moment. Not only was he going to make the black-hearted Wanchong cough up every penny, but he also intended to demand triple compensation from him. Let's see how he could still act so smug after that. Black Moon Pavilion has always built its reputation on trustworthiness. The loss of this intelligence. Wanchong is well aware that the punishment for damaging Black Moon Pavilion's reputation is even more severe. He quickly proposes another plan. I have another piece of crucial information regarding the evil cult. 1 million spirit crystals isn't too expensive, is it? 1 million is no small amount. Is the evil cult worth it? It seems they are determined to extort a hefty sum from me. Wanchong showed an awkward smile. Once the demonic king's court makes any moves targeting the Qin Empire or the Chu family, I will notify Brother Chu immediately without any delay. You bastard! If it weren't for you being in the wrong this time, once the demonic king's court makes any moves, were you planning to delay before telling me, old man? Chu Tianming immediately caught the flaw and loudly questioned. What else could Wanchong do but continue with a polite, awkward smile? How could that be, Brother Chu? Our Black Moon Pavilion has always valued its reputation above all else. With that expression, even without my explanation, all you smart viewers can surely tell what he's thinking. I don't believe a word you say, you sly old man, but he still wants to hear what you have to say. The vice leader of the evil cult and 2 guardians have arrived in Chu Commandery. Wanchong, like the rest of you, has seen through Chu Tianming's intentions. With a smug expression, he reveals what he believes to be intelligence worth $1 million. Brother Chu, this piece of information is worth $1 million, isn't it? Upon hearing this, Chu Tianming frowned deeply. The vice leader of the evil cult is at the peak of the void stage 8th layer, and the guardians are at the void stage 7th layer. If they were to launch a surprise attack on us, the outcome would be uncertain. Wanchong smiled slightly, looking every bit the shrewd merchant. That's another piece of information. Chu Tianming certainly wouldn't fall for it so easily. He also gave a disdainful smile. Just the information about coming to Chu Commandery alone isn't worth $1 million. Although the Black Moon Pavilion's intelligence is a bit faster, I can guarantee that within a day, our Chu family will also receive news of their arrival in Chu Commandery. So stop beating around the bush. After all, I haven't forgiven you yet. Seeing Chu Tianming's insistence, Wanchong said no more and took out a map. This is their current hiding place. Thank you, Brother Wan. I'll take my leave first. With a satisfied wave, Chu Tianming turned and left. Since we already know the location, let's strike first and catch them off guard. Hehe. Speaking of which, Chu Tianming and his group are heading aggressively towards the Black Moon Pavilion, which has connections in both the lawful and underworld circles, to demand an explanation. After a round of heated arguments, they left because he intended to catch the evil cult, which had infiltrated Chu commandery, off guard. Within a courtyard less than 100 miles from the ancestral home of the Chu family. In the Qin Empire, the first deputy leader of the evil cult, Zhang Kuei, was sitting with his eyes closed, deep in thought. What happened with Portugal last night? How could they have been overturned by those damn Koreans? This man, who only differs from Gara by 2 dark circles under his eyes, is the helmsman of Chu commandery, Dong Qian. He whispered softly. Zhu Chong suddenly went crazy. We don't know the reason, but we suspect it's related to the protector of the Purple Moon Empire. However, we don't understand the purpose behind their actions. Zhu Yan? But what he received was Dong Qian's uncertainty, because he truly had no energy to spare for a minor elder like Zhu Yan. The evil cult suffered a devastating blow. All because of this Chu family. Throughout the entire Qin Empire, the evil cult lost 1/5 of its strength. How did they discover that someone was undercover? It remains unknown. It might be intelligence provided by the Black Moon Pavilion. Zhang Kuei doesn't quite agree with this conjecture. After all, the Black Moon Pavilion is not omnipotent. Given the Black Moon Pavilion's modus operandi, for the sake of greater benefits, they would not easily sell intelligence that could lead to the other party's destruction. Then he patted Dong Qian on the shoulder and spoke earnestly, telling them all to get ready to accompany him to the Chu family's territory tonight to investigate. However, Dong Qian was worried that the Chu family's territory had many powerful figures, and it's better to be safe than sorry. Zhang Kuei comforted him, saying, Old Ghost Chu Tianming has already left the clan's territory. It's completely fine to venture into the Chu family. As the cult leader, I naturally have the confidence to ensure a safe retreat. He waved his hand grandly. He tossed a purple glass bead to Dong Qian. You come with me to challenge the Chu family. Dong Qian, a helmsman who had seen the world, recognized at a glance that this glass bead was the life-saving spiritual artifact, the Sky Escape Orb. Even when surrounded by Chu family elders, as long as he wasn't instantly killed, he could escape. It was just that miraculous. Zhang Kuei glanced back with a sinister smile. As long as they can't keep us, breaking into the Chu family's territory and retreating unscathed will undoubtedly put immense pressure on the Chu family. Heh. Someone else is coming to bully this good-for-nothing young master. On a moonless and windy night, the good-for-nothing young master, Chu Xuan, had no intention of sleeping. All because this celestial beauty Miao was snoring like thunder. And also unable to sleep were 2 burly men outside the door. Our target this time is to break into the Chu family's ancestral home. Just a simple break-in is all we need. The speaker is none other than Zhang Kuei, the first deputy cult leader of the Qin Empire evil cult. He is brimming with confidence for this mission, solely because the only threat from the Chu family, Chu Tianming, is still at the Black Moon Pavilion, bargaining and inquiring about his whereabouts. As for the remaining ordinary elders, kill them one by one. Along with Zhang Kuei, there was another person, the branch leader of Chu commandery, Dong Qian. At this moment he was already breaking out in a cold sweat. This wretched old man is truly wicked. You're so damn strong, but I don't have your skills. It's better to be cautious. The two had already arrived outside Chu Xian's courtyard. This should be the residence of Chu Chulua's son, right? Although his son is somewhat incompetent, he is still Chu Chulua's son. Having him under our control might lead to unexpected gains. Do you mean to recruit him into our sect? There are 2 plans. Control Chu Chulua's son, help him break through to the profound stage, and have him return to the Chu family's ancestral home to become our sect's pawn. He paused for effect, then Zhang Kuei continued. Recruit him into our sect, teach him the methods of the evil art, and turn him into a blade of slaughter for our sect. Chu Chulua's son has cultivated the evil art, becoming an evil cultivator and committing widespread slaughter. I'm curious to see how the Chu family will handle this. Adhering to the principle of enjoying the show without worrying about how high the stage gets, Zhang Kuei couldn't help but feel delighted just thinking about it. Chu Chulua's son is in our sect. If Chu Chulua himself ever returns, we can have his son confront him. Let's see whether Chu Chulua will kill him or not. After hearing his own plan, Zhang Kuei couldn't help but let out a sinister laugh. What if Chu Chulua isn't dead and goes on a rampage to annihilate our evil cult upon seeing his son forced into it? Dong Qian voiced his concern. At worst, could he really kill his own son? If he actually does, the one truly responsible for his son being captured by our sect and forced into the evil cult is that old ghost Chu Tianming. Just imagine how Chu Chulua would react. Flawless. He grew increasingly satisfied with his seemingly airtight plan. Zhang Kuei put on an expression of profound mystery. Dong Qian, standing nearby, thought it made sense and quickly decided to flatter him. Go capture Chu Chula's son. I want to take Chu Chula's son away right in front of the Chu family, to infuriate that old devil. Celestial Meow isn't showing its power, so you really think I'm a Hello Kitty? I've seen people get slapped in the face but never this fast. A plan that seemed flawless just a second ago. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that his plan would be completely overheard by that bookworm in the courtyard? Chu Xuan let out a helpless sigh. What are you all doing? Are the people from the evil cult out of their minds? Every time before causing trouble, they always have to target their own first. You do your thing. I won't leave this courtyard, nor will I have nothing better to do than to stop you. But if you come looking for trouble yourselves, you can't blame me. He silently released the soul-sealing mark. Zhu Chong, who was struck by the soul-sealing mark, was merely a minor elder, yet he single-handedly wiped out the entire Chu commandery branch. Looking at this void stage 9-layer individual outside the courtyard, Chu Xuan couldn't help but feel a little excited. Yet Zhang Kuei and Dong Qian outside the courtyard had no idea what terrifying existence they were about to face. They still wore an air of absolute confidence, striding forward with an arrogant, swaggering gait. At Zhang Kuei's command, a dazzling golden formation instantly appeared beneath his feet, looking incredibly radiant. Zhang Kuei's pupils instantly dilated, and his face twisted into a ferocious expression. It turned out that the formation was not his. It was actually a trap set up by Chu Xuan. Under the immense pressure, Zhang Kuei stumbled involuntarily. Even if he had to kneel, he had to do it with style. He couldn't let Dong Qian see his embarrassment. Union stage. This pressure must be from a union stage expert. The Chu family actually has a union stage powerhouse. Zhang Kuei felt his mind beginning to blur, his consciousness on the verge of fading. It seems even the sky escape orb can't be activated now. A youthful face appeared before him. Chu Xuan, you are actually at the union stage? In just a single encounter, before Chu Xuan could even make a move, his superior actually knelt down on one knee. Dong Qian, standing nearby, was instantly stunned. There was no response from Zhang Kuei. Instead, he heard a meow. Before he could even make out what it was, Dong Qian was struck hard on the face by the invincible meow meow palm. It's not your turn to interrupt. By the time Chu Xuan looked over in this direction, Dong Qian was already foaming at the mouth. Are all the positions in your evil cult bought? Why must you target me? Is it just because my father is Chu Cholua? Chu Xuan couldn't help but feel a slight curiosity about this father he had never met. What exactly is his story? What kind of extraordinary person is he, to make even the esteemed deputy cult leader and branch leader of the evil cult compete to serve him as a servant? The man's name is Chu Xuan, a good-for-nothing young master in the eyes of the world. The two founders of the evil cult joined forces and stormed into Chu Xuan's courtyard, intending to recruit him. All because his father is Chu Chu, a once-in-a-century martial arts prodigy of the Qin Empire. Yet little did they know, like father like son. Chu Chula's son has a system. His mere stage presence alone was enough to overwhelm the two of them. Often there's no need for excessive flashiness. He saw that his defeated opponent was already trapped in the formation. Chu Xuan was very curious about the identity of this old man from the evil cult. After all, as a void stage 9-layer expert, he must be a prominent figure within the evil cult. They would surely send even stronger experts, and he simply found it troublesome. That old man wasn't idle either. He thought to himself that even the pet cat raised by the person before him was so powerful. Then the person's own strength must be unfathomable. As he thought about it, Zhang Kuei was already breaking out in a cold sweat. I definitely can't win in a fight, so he honestly told Chu Xuan that he was the first deputy cult leader of the evil cult of the Qin Empire. That's quite a background. As long as he can control him, he can prevent the evil cult from harassing him, and also get advanced knowledge of the cult's plans. So he comforted Zhang Kuei, saying, I, Chu Xuan, can't even bear to kill a chicken. How could I possibly kill you? That sounds so familiar. Back in the day, this kid's father said something similar, and in the blink of an eye, he slaughtered dozens of followers. Anyone who says such things is no good person. Dong Qian, who was lying on the ground pretending to be unconscious, couldn't hold back any longer. If the first deputy cult leader has value, doesn't that mean he's going to be killed? Young Master Chu, I am the leader of Chu Commandery. I have value too. There's no need for the two of you to argue. This young master bestows his favor equally upon all. 2 soul-sealing marks flew toward each of them. The first command after being marked was to instruct Zhang Kuei to make the evil cult behave and stop harassing the Chu family. Zhang Kuei immediately pledged to restrain his followers, vowing to deal with anyone who disobeyed. He then inquired about the background of Black Moon Pavilion. According to Zhang Kuei, it is highly likely that Black Moon Pavilion possesses intelligence-gathering treasures, making it impossible to hide anything from them. The strongest in the Qin Empire is not the one from the Qin's royal family. Rather, it is a mysterious powerhouse stationed at the Qin Empire branch of the Black Moon Pavilion. The Black Moon Pavilion is indeed an intriguing force. This aura. It's Chu Tianming. Ever since Wan Chong informed Chu Tianming that the first deputy cult leader of the evil cult had arrived in Chu Commandery with 2 guardians, Chu Tianming has gone another 3 days without using the restroom. He has been searching for a full 3 days according to the map, yet he still hasn't caught even a glimpse of the evil cult. He went to demand an explanation again. Wan Chong, what's going on? The intel is wrong yet again. This time you must return the spiritual crystal. An enraged Chu Tianming unleashed a burst of fury. Absolutely impossible. Brother Chu Zhang Kuei is alive. When you rushed over, he happened to have just left. Any intelligence has a certain delay. It can't be real time. Wan Chong was making a serious-sounding excuse. Chu Tianming suspected that the unscrupulous Black Moon Pavilion had taken what he wanted, sold the information about his mission to assassinate the evil cult's deputy leader to the evil cult. And Wan Chong explained that he strictly adheres to professional ethics. Intelligence about a buyer must not be resold until at least 1 day has passed. Zhang Kuei suddenly left, and his hiding place isn't far from the Chu family's territory. Don't you think about where he might have gone? Prompted by Wan Chang's words, Chu Tianming felt like a ball being kicked around. Still, he'd rather believe it than dismiss it. Could Zhang Kuei have gone to our Chu family? If this intelligence turns out to be wrong again, Brother Wan, you'll have to give me an explanation. How could the intelligence be wrong? Our Black Moon Pavilion has always been built on integrity, with no falsehoods. Watching Chu Tianming's departing figure, Wan Chong didn't miss the chance to promote their reputation. The first stop upon entering the Chu family territory was Chu Xuan's courtyard. Since they had already sensed Chu Tianming heading in this direction, naturally Zhang Kuei and Dong Qian were not suitable to stay for long. He gave them an invisibility talisman. Chu Xuan finally breathed a sigh of relief. For the next period of time he could be at ease without any more harassment from evil cult followers. He was just about to enjoy a good sleep. System prompt. The host has not left the house. Subdued a powerful member of the evil cult. Rewarded with 10 years of cultivation level, and the Celestial Golden Divine Eye. This is the legendary Celestial Golden Divine Eye that can kill enemies with a single glance. Directly broke through to the Union Stage 8th layer. I really wish there could be more such powerful individuals. Just because you're in a cheerful mood. Acknowledging the value of otakus, the system rewards you with the divine artifact. Would you like it? This otaku, Chu Xuan, who has traveled through time, possesses such a system. Just moments ago, Chu Tianming, having once again found nothing during his patrol, stormed into the Black Moon Pavilion yet again to demand an explanation, all because the intelligence provided by Wan Chong had once again proven inaccurate. Do you think I'm easy to bully? Are you trying to throw the Black Moon Pavilion's reputation into the gutter? Chu Tianming's ugly expression made it seem as if he wanted to devour Wan Chong alive. I thought he came to thank me for providing the information. Wan Chong stood there frozen in place. Chu Tianming didn't care whether he was stunned or not. He had taken 1 million from him and provided intelligence twice. Yet last night, all the clan elders had been patrolling the clan grounds without a single trace of Zhang Kuei appearing. Wan Chong still refused to believe his ears and repeated the founding motto of the Black Moon Pavilion once more. Chu Tianming didn't indulge him. He stated bluntly that not only had Zhang Kuei not been found at the hiding spot he provided, but there was also no evidence of him breaking into the Chu family's territory at night. He didn't break into your Chu family's territory? Are you sure? I personally patrolled the area. No more nonsense. Since the intelligence was incorrect, shouldn't the spiritual crystal be returned now? Chu Tianming's patience has run out. How could Wan Chong be willing to let the duck that's already in hand fly away? Please wait a moment. I'll go verify the information. He then turned around and asked, what's going on with Zhang Kuei? Wasn't he supposed to break into the Chu family's territory at night? Could it be that he chickened out at the last minute? That doesn't seem likely. Where is Zhang Kuei now? The response he received was straightforward and clear. Wan Chong couldn't lose his temper in front of the client, so he let it all out now. You're telling me you don't know? Mistakes keep happening again and again. Do you still want to be considered for the Employee of the Year award? You're just using this to threaten me, but I really don't know. Zhang Kuei clearly headed toward the Chu family's territory last night, but there's been no trace of him so far. It's as if he vanished into thin air. Then send more people. Find out his whereabouts as soon as possible. After giving instructions to his subordinate, Wan Chong muttered to himself, that bastard Zhang Kuei, why didn't he just barge into the Chu family's territory? Right now I must first appease Chu Tianming. If things blow up, how am I supposed to get a promotion and a raise by the end of the year? Why get angry? I've already given the order and we're tracking Zhang Kuei's whereabouts. He has calmed down quite a bit. Chu Tianming is very clear about it. He thought to himself that there's no need to break ties with the Black Moon Pavilion while the threat of the evil cult hasn't been eliminated yet. Zhang Kuei is cunning, and the Black Moon Pavilion has repeatedly provided incorrect intelligence, preventing our Chu family from taking him out in time. What do you think about this? Seeing Chu Tianming offer a way out, Wan Chong quickly promised, Zhang Kuei won't survive. Since the Chu family has entrusted the Black Moon Pavilion to assist in eliminating Zhang Kuei, the Black Moon Pavilion will definitely help the Chu family get rid of him. Don't blame me for speaking out of turn, but Zhang Kuei is quite capable himself and carries the Sky Escape Orb. Killing him won't be easy. Shopkeeper Wan, are you perhaps just humoring me? No, not at all. I wouldn't dare. I can't speak for other things, but I'm very familiar with the Sky Escape Orb. All we need to do is block Zhang Kuei after he activates it and surround him. It shouldn't be too difficult to take him down. Then I'll wait for Shopkeeper Wan's news. Chu Tianming cursed inwardly. So it turns out this artifact came from you. No wonder you know all the details so clearly. Chu Xuan, who stays at home diligently studying the scriptures. He received a system reward notification. Because of a small action you took. It caused the Black Moon Pavilion, which prides itself on the authenticity and accuracy of its intelligence, to experience an error in intelligence. Reward: Divine Replenishment Art in True Word Spell. The intelligence from the Black Moon Pavilion has been inaccurate. Only Zhang Kuei and one other person have visited in the past 2 days. Could the intelligence be related to them? Who cares? I gave them the invisibility talisman. I just wanted to test out the Black Moon Pavilions. It seems the Black Moon Pavilion isn't as impressive as the legends claim. Not all information can be uncovered. But the reward is quite impressive. A powerful secret technique capable of mending a fragmented divine soul. It is an extremely powerful divine soul recovery technique. A secret art on par with divine spells. Similarly, the True Word spell is a secret art of the same level, enabling one to speak truths, akin to the ability of manifestation follows the words. It is a secret art that directly points to the great Tao of heaven and earth. Acquiring 2 secret arts in one go. Indeed, staying indoors can actually lead to many accomplishments, and there's plenty of fun to be uncovered. He had just finished stretching. The system reward notification sounded once again. Due to your cheerful mood, you have come to understand the true meaning of staying at home. Reward: Divine Rainbow Light. Incredible luck. This is the legendary Divine Rainbow Light. It is said that whether it's an attack on the physical body or an attack on the divine soul, the Divine Rainbow Light can defend against it. In that case, wouldn't I be invincible? Now I can finally cultivate at home with peace of mind, right? Ha 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 ha. This man once castrated himself with a blade, just to cultivate a powerful technique. Then, he actually relied on the demonic technique. He restored his male organ, but he was still rejected by the woman he loved, simply because the later one wasn't as good as the original. The man is the male lead in the tragic life depicted in Chu Xuan's book, Demonic King's Court Evil King. Adhering to the principle of knowing both oneself and the enemy, Chu Xuan would study such historical texts whenever he had free time. When Evil King was young, in order to cultivate a powerful technique, he castrated himself. Afterward, he discovered that his enemies practiced even stronger techniques without castration, and one of them even married the woman he loved. This is absolutely unbearable. The Evil King's mind became unbalanced. He went completely mad, ultimately sacrificing 1,000,000 people just to restore his male organ. The blood demonic technique, which has been passed down to this day, was created by this very evil king. He achieved his wish of restoring his male organ through this powerful demonic technique. and forcibly took possession of the woman he once loved. Yet, she responded coldly and disdainfully. Compared to my ex, you're too soft and boring. At that moment, the evil king went berserk on the spot and died right then and there. Damn, that's just brutal. That evil king really had a tragic end. He was just getting into it when the butler delivered Chu Tianming's order, telling the 13th young master to return to the ancestral home. What's up with this old ghost? Why is he suddenly asking me to return to the ancestral home? Could it be that the old man went to Wanchong again to inquire about the whereabouts of Zhang Kuei and the others? I imagine Wanchong, aside from looking utterly confused, would probably just say he doesn't know. After all, my invisibility talisman isn't just for show. Since even the Black Moon Pavilion couldn't pinpoint the evil cult's whereabouts this time, the old man must still be somewhat uneasy about me, this good-for-nothing young master. After all, I am Chuchula's own son. I'm living quite well here. Of course, Chu Xuan wouldn't want all his efforts to go to waste. After all, he's been holed up for almost a year. Wouldn't that mean all this time spent in seclusion was for nothing? The butler thought Chu Xuan was just worried about being punished after returning to the ancestral home, so he reassured him. Don't worry, 13th young master. The family head has said he won't hold your past mistakes against you. You can go back to live in the ancestral home now. I've already said I'm not going back. It's much more comfortable living here. Chu Xuan continued to insist. I don't believe they can just tie me up and drag me back. All right then. The butler was left speechless and had no choice but to return and report the situation truthfully to the family head. No sooner had the butler left than the system notification sound rang out. Refusing to return to the ancestral home. Choosing to continue staying in. Reward. 1 case of enlightenment tea. Haha. Chu Xuan is overjoyed. It turns out to be the system's random reward session, which happens to be his favorite. It is important to know that the union stage involves materializing spiritual power through communication, while the true stage requires comprehending the true meaning, demanding exceptional talent and insight. This type of enlightenment tea. It can help one comprehend the true will of heaven and earth and break through the bottleneck of the true stage. Chu Xuan unceremoniously took it all in. After all, he had already reached the 8th layer of the union stage. He is about to step into the 9th layer of the union stage. True stage is within sight. Got enlightenment tea. He gained an early insight into the true will of heaven and earth. It can significantly shorten the time required for his breakthrough. Then what more is there to say? Let's brew a pot first. Taste the flavor. With this sip, why does it feel like Chu Xuan has gained quite a bit of weight? He pursed his lips seriously, savoring the moment carefully, and Chu Xuan frowned. Oh my god. He directly broke through to the union stage 9th layer. The true stage is just around the corner. Look quickly. This is a cup of enlightenment tea that allows one to directly break through to the next stage. The young girl merely took a small sip. The next second her pupils dilated, and she exclaimed in amazement, Incredible! The man is called Chu Xuan. He just received a reward for staying at home for 10 months. A low-grade emperor item, the mythical flame bell. This bell contains the mythical flame within, capable of burning the heavens and boiling the earth. Chu Xuan, brimming with smug satisfaction, was secretly congratulating himself. Yet another emperor item. This system is far too generous. So far, even the worst reward has been a heavenly scripture, or even a divine spell. My cultivation stage is also halfway into the true stage. Maybe if I drink a few more cups of tea, I'll break through to the true stage directly. At that moment, a familiar figure pushed open the courtyard gate. I've reached the profound stage 3rd layer. It's all thanks to third uncle's insights. This graceful young maiden is the sister Yun that Chu Xuan has been longing for. Third uncle is indeed a big shot who swept across the Qin Empire. You need to work hard on your cultivation. Being so lazy won't do. You can't let third uncle lose face. This makes Chu Xuan feel quite awkward. You don't get it. This kind of laid-back life is truly comfortable. Working hard on cultivation every day is so boring. Chu Xuan picked up the freshly brewed tea. Sister Yun handed it to him. Chu Yun took the teacup and drank it all in one gulp, only to see Chu Yun's eyes widen in astonishment, feeling as if immortal energy was permeating all around him. 13th brother. This tea is really delicious. It seems to have some other special effects too. I feel so much more energized. Chu Yun couldn't quite put her finger on what exactly was special, but she just blushed shyly. He noticed Sister Yun's face was glowing with a healthy blush. Chu Xuan was also grinning foolishly on the side. This was left behind by my father, so naturally, it can't be ordinary tea. Proudly, Chu Xuan secretly vowed to make sure Sister Yun drinks enlightenment tea every day from now on, as breaking through to the true stage is basically a sure thing. After an unknown amount of time, Chu Yun, having woken up from the tea, suddenly asked Chu Xuan why he hadn't been seen leaving the courtyard. Faced with the goddess's doubt, of course I couldn't tell her that I'm a homebody. I'm actually cultivating. Of course, Chu Yun didn't believe it because she hadn't seen Chu Xuan practicing, nor had she noticed any improvement in his strength, so she kept pressing him for answers. I cultivate the heart. How high the stage of the heart can reach, Chu Xuan said with feigned profundity. Yet the simple-minded Chu Yun misunderstood it as 13th brother is because the stage of the heart is not high enough. That's why his strength is so weak. Is this also a cultivation method passed down by third uncle? Yes, exactly. It's a secret technique passed down by my old man. It might seem weak in the early stages, but later on you'll soar to the heavens. Seeing the opportunity, Chu Xuan quickly seized it to save face. This method isn't for just anyone to cultivate. It's extremely demanding. That's actually why I haven't returned to the ancestral home. Ha, clever me. With this excuse, they won't pester me about going back anymore. Chu Yun suddenly understood. She also declared that she would never force 13th brother to return to the ancestral home again. Nor would she allow anyone to disturb Chu Xuan. However, this intelligence agency has once again made a false report, yet still dares to claim to be the best in the Qin Empire. The agency responsible for the error is called Black Moon Pavilion. This man with a cluelessly adorable face is Wan Chong, the shopkeeper of the Black Moon Pavilion's Qin Empire branch. Just moments ago, shopkeeper Wan denied his intelligence report for the third time. According to reliable sources, this furry little old man is Chu Tianming, the head of the Chu family, one of the three great families of the Qin Empire. On his fourth visit to the pavilion, he is no longer the naive and gullible person who used to believe everything Wan Chong said. Who killed him? Wan Chong, on the other hand, simply shrugged and said, the intelligence from Black Moon Pavilion is never wrong. It was most likely killed by a powerful expert not from the Qin Empire. Who knows where he got such confidence? It's almost shameless. Wan Chong truly felt no shame because he thought to himself, even if Zhang Kuei isn't dead, as soon as he shows up, Black Moon Pavilion will immediately finish him off. The intelligence from Black Moon Pavilion is indeed never wrong. So the threat is eliminated. Then, regarding the matter of Brother Chu purchasing intelligence, I can personally take on one commission from Brother Chu as a private compensation. How about that? Wan Chong smiled at Chu Tianming, hoping he wouldn't file a complaint. After all, the year-end bonus was about to be paid out. Wan Chong is taking action personally. Such treatment is quite rare. Chu Tianming's small eyes shifted. Since Brother Wan has said so, I won't pursue the matter further. However, I do have something I'd like to entrust to Brother Wan. Could you investigate the whereabouts of my son, Chu Chilua? Rest assured, I will personally request the Black Moon Pavilion to look into this matter. As soon as there is any news, I will inform Brother Chu at the first opportunity. And right after Chu Tianming left, Black Moon Pavilion received a scout's report that Zhang Kuei is not dead and is still alive. Then where is he? The masked man learned his lesson this time and didn't just say, I don't know. Calmly, he told shopkeeper Wan that Zhang Kuei had briefly appeared, but they failed to kill him immediately, and he escaped using some unknown sorcery. Upon hearing this, Wan Chong remained completely unruffled. Fortunately, he had not yet publicly announced the news of Zhang Kuei's death, having only mentioned it once to Chu Tianming. However, he couldn't show this in front of his subordinates. Immediately, he furrowed his brows and said, keep investigating his whereabouts. I refuse to believe he has truly vanished. Something strange happened again. The man simply picked up a pair of scissors. He thought about trimming the potted plants in the courtyard. The system then rewarded him with the scripture of all spirits and the scripture of Thousand Dan. The gardener is named Chu Xuan. Just now, the girl who accompanied him in cultivation was Sister Yun. Early in the morning, she rushed to his room and told him that she was already approaching the fourth layer of the profound stage. She planned to return to her ancestral home to prepare for the breakthrough. Chu Xuan was not surprised by Sister Yun's rapid cultivation progress. Instead, he thought about waiting until Sister Yun broke through to the fourth layer of the profound stage. That old man Chu Tianming probably won't dare to entertain the idea of forming a marriage alliance with the Qin family anymore. He watched Sister Yun's receding figure as she walked away. He could only utter desolately. Chu Xuan, finally finding a moment of peace, casually grabbed a technique book. He plans to cultivate quietly until the heavens darken and the earth goes dim. Chu Xuan realized something was off. This feeling is exactly like, as if predestined by fate. He spread his own fingers open. He could actually materialize objects out of thin air. A translucent jade rabbit suddenly appeared beneath his palm. Could this be the mark of the true stage? He could barely perceive it. This is something materialized by spiritual power. Just when Chu Xuan couldn't believe it, the system notification sound dispelled his doubts. You keep staying at home, broke through to the true stage. Reward pet, heaven-shaking golden rock. Another pet rewarded. Its strength is indeed at the true stage 1 layer, but it's so tiny. I wonder when it will finally grow up. It is an ancient divine beast. It can shake the 9 heavens above and split the 9 abysses below. Meow. Celestial Beauty Meow had already caught the scent of food and was fawning over its owner with an ingratiating look. Gulp. Before Chu Xuan could stop it, Celestial Beauty Meow heaven-shaking golden rock had already responded with a cry, instantly entering combat readiness, spreading its golden wings wide and igniting terrifying flames behind it. Celestial Beauty Meow had never endured such provocation before. Unwilling to be outdone, it shook off a blue aura, and a great battle was on the verge of breaking out. Don't fight among yourselves. Take him to the yard for a stroll to get familiar with the surroundings. Chu Xuan lifted the 2 little ones up and instructed them to be good friends from now on. After sending the 2 adorable pets out, Chu Xuan confirmed that he had already broken through to the true stage. It seems the evil cult is no longer a concern. Perhaps with the rewards from this year, I can directly break through to the Emperor stage. Once I reach the Emperor stage, I will truly have nothing to fear in the South Prefecture. Just thinking about it makes me happy. Staying at home is truly wonderful. At this moment, a potted plant in the corner caught my eye. It seems it's time for a trim. Such a cozy life, truly comfortable, though it could use a beautiful maid. Pure bliss. Fantasies don't last more than 3 seconds. Well, another random reward triggered. You trim the bonsai. Staying at home brings a joyful mood. Reward. Scripture of all spirits and Scripture of 1000 Dan. It records all spiritual beings and celestial treasures between heaven and earth. By thoroughly studying the Scripture of all spirits, one can recognize any spiritual being and any celestial treasure between heaven and earth, even those that have already become extinct. As for the Scripture of 1000 elixirs, it is a manual on elixir refining. It records countless elixir scriptures and numerous methods of elixir refining throughout history. It happens to be a perfect way to pass the time. This Dan refining manual could actually be something for Chu Yun to learn. Find a few Dan scriptures and place them into her cultivation notes. After Chu Yun learns it, then her status in the Chu family will surpass Chu Qing's in 1 leap, even surpassing that of the family head, Chu Tianming. If he finds out, he will definitely be even more reluctant to let Chu Yun leave the Chu family. This is a good plan. The man, worried and so close yet unable to see his girl, raised his arm high and waved it vigorously. The girl's name was Chu Yun, the very sister Yun spoken of by the man across from him. Chu Yun had broken through to the 4th layer of the profound stage and came especially to thank Chu Xuan. Chu Xuan, on the other hand, remained quite composed. After all, with the enlightenment tea he had gifted, it was impossible not to progress quickly. Still, he offered verbal praise. Not bad at all, breaking through so swiftly. I was tidying up the bookshelf a couple of days ago and found the Dan scripture that my father left behind. I've placed it in the cultivation insights section for you. Go take a look. Chu Yun, taking the book, looked utterly astonished. There was actually a Dan refining manual for crafting the void synthesis pill. If the void synthesis pill is successfully crafted, Grandpa might have a chance to break through to the union stage. Third uncle actually didn't pass down the Dan refining manual. Chu Xuan noticed Sister Yun's concern and blamed himself for overlooking such a crucial detail. Could it be that this Dan refining manual has a special origin? Should I learn it? Would it bring disaster to the Chu family? Seeing Sister Yun's growing doubts, Chu Xuan felt exhausted. Oh, women. I've known about the Dan refining manual for a long time. Father wanted me to learn it, but I didn't because I found it too tiring. Sister Yun, you can rest assured. The origin is completely without any issues. Chu Xuan was quite satisfied with his own explanation. However, the Dan refining manual is far too precious in the South Prefecture, so we must remain cautious. If it were to be leaked and fall into the hands of the powerful factions in the South Prefecture, the Chu family would face catastrophic consequences. Even the usually meticulous Sister Yun Chu Xuan was witnessing this for the first time. There was no time to comfort Chu Yun, so she emphasized again, especially if it catches the attention of the demonic king's court, the consequences would be unimaginable. I'd better learn it secretly, then go out to gain experience and find a secluded place to refine the elixir. Could this be the change after breaking through to the fourth layer of the profound stage? Afraid that Chu Yun might continue questioning, Chu Xuan quickly chimed in. Yes, it's better to be cautious. Chu Xuan handed a jade token to Chu Yun. He said it was left by their father. He himself wasn't going out to train anyway. It's of no use. Then I'll give it to Chu Yun for self-defense. Afterwards, Chu Xuan still felt uneasy, so he contacted Zhang Kuei through the soul-sealing mark, asking him to secretly protect Chu Yun. With Zhang Kuei's strength at the void stage, 9th layer, and under the control of the soul-sealing mark, it should be secure within the Chu Empire. After arranging all these matters, he could finally relax and stay at home. With that, he stretched lazily. This is an ordinary-looking cave, but inside lies a hidden world. Located in the Purple Moon Empire, the cave houses an underground palace. Inside the palace, an old man is passionately analyzing the current situation to his subordinates, filled with righteous indignation. The right protector has fallen in the Chu commandery of the Qin Empire, and this matter is undoubtedly linked to the Chu family. This proud-looking old man is named Yuan Chong, the deputy leader of the evil cult in the Purple Moon Empire. Wasn't the right protector killed during the internal conflict within the same sect in the Qin Empire? Asked a powerful member of the evil cult, his face full of confusion. That may be so, but who truly knows the real situation? If it weren't for the Chu family's sabotage, our sect would never have come to this, Yuan Chong said fiercely. More than 10 evil cult elders of the Purple Moon Empire have fallen. Even the cult leader was severely wounded and nearly fell. The root of all this traces back to the Chu family disrupting the evil cult schemes. Summon all the elders. This debt must be settled with the Chu family. In less than the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, the area outside the palace was already bustling with people. Who will go to settle this debt for my Purple Moon evil cult? Commanded Yuan Chong. The elders present could not help but murmur among themselves. Although the overall strength of the Chu family is not as great as that of the Purple Moon Empire, they are by no means weak. Moreover, the Qin Empire is not our territory. Venturing there recklessly might lead to unforeseen dangers. One elder frowned and said, our primary target remains the Purple Moon Empire. Many elders of the evil cult nodded in agreement. How can we simply let the matter with the Chu family rest? They have disrupted our sect's long-standing plans. Once the king's court has the capacity to act, they will not spare the Chu family either. Are we supposed to wait until the king's court issues orders before taking action? Yuan Chong snorted in dissatisfaction and continued his analysis. We don't necessarily have to fight the Chu family head-on. I've heard that Chu Chulua's son has been expelled from the ancestral home. Since we can't do much against the Chu family for now, why not capture Chu Chulua's son? That would at least allow us to vent some of our frustration. At this point, an elder questioned, Chu Chulua's son has already been expelled from the ancestral home. What's the use of capturing him? Yuan Chong angrily rebuked him. He is Chu Chulua's son, not some random nobody's child. Even if he is useless, as long as he is Chu Chulua's son, he has value. Besides, Chu Chulua might not even be dead. If Chu Chulua ever returns, we can send his son to the king's court as a hostage, which will surely make him think twice before acting. The elder who just raised doubts immediately changed his stance to go with the flow. Then I will make a trip myself. Everyone turned their gaze to a frail-looking elder. Seeing that none of the elders had any objections, Yuan Chong's gloomy expression finally eased slightly. Then we'll leave it to Elder Lu Yuan, who is most skilled in concealment. On the other side, Chu Xuan, who was holed up in the courtyard, was feeling quite content. Sitting in a recliner, basking in the sun, he leisurely sipped enlightenment tea, filled with joy as he awaited the arrival of the one-year mark of staying at home. Perhaps out of sheer boredom, Chu Xuan stretched his limbs, complaining about why the evil cult had been so quiet lately. Suddenly he received a barrier warning. A powerful intruder had breached. What? Is the evil cult here again? Although Chu Xuan's confidence had grown significantly after breaking through to the true stage, but he still needed to remain steady where it was necessary. The newcomer's strength was at the void stage, third layer. Belongs to the high-ranking elder level. Yet why didn't Zhang Kuei send a message to himself? You would never guess. This little elder volunteered to go teach a lesson to a good-for-nothing young master. He actually intended to seize power and usurp the throne. The little elder's name was Lu Yuan. Although he was not the strongest among the evil cult elders of the Purple Moon Empire, he was the most skilled at escaping and hiding. Just a moment ago, Lu Yuan, who believed he was perfectly hidden, little did he expect to have triggered the 5 elements formation laid out by Chu Xuan. The tranquil courtyard instantly became filled with a deadly aura. Yet Lu Yuan remained completely unaware. He even thought to himself that the absence of any strong guardians near Chu Xuan's courtyard made it all the more convenient for him to stir up trouble. Then he ran into a frail-looking man. You must be Chu Chula's son, he said. Chu Xuan's face was written all over with helplessness. What on earth is going on with that father of mine? Why does everyone want to catch me? Without waiting for Chu Xuan to get into position, Lu Yuan didn't say a word and dashed forward, reaching out to grab him. You're the one I'm looking for. At the very moment Lu Yuan's feet left the ground, his shoulders suddenly sank, and he took a heavy blow to the head. He was sent flying several meters through the air. Lu Yuan, who had fallen to the ground, was greatly shocked. Could it be that Chu Chula's son was just a decoy? Have I fallen into an ambush? He raised his head again. Suddenly a huge python appeared beside Chu Xuan, while Chu Xuan himself looked down at Lu Yuan. Which member of the evil cult are you? I was just curious, he said. Coming back to his senses, Lu Yuan didn't hear a word of what Chu Xuan had asked. He was completely lost in his own thoughts. A void stage demon beast that could appear out of thin air. Could this be something Chu Chula left for his son? Since there's no one else around, it means it's not an ambush. I need to find an opportunity to capture him. Not going to talk, huh? Chu Xuan smiled indifferently. Suddenly, the giant python opened its gaping maw and under Lu Yuan's horrified gaze, swallowed him whole in one gulp. Lu Yuan, breaking out in a cold sweat from the shock, instinctively raised his arm in a futile attempt to block the attack, but the giant python suddenly vanished, and its appearance had been so abrupt. A chilling thought crossed Lu Yuan's mind. This was the technique of a true stage expert, the ability to materialize illusions into reality. The Chu family actually had a true stage powerhouse. And he was so young. Looking at Chu Xuan's handsome appearance, there was a faint resemblance to Chu Chula. You are. A storm of shock surged in his heart. What? Chu Chulua and his wife went missing while exploring ancient ruins. It was all a lie. Chu Chulua had actually obtained a great opportunity. To avoid drawing the attention of major forces, he fabricated the story of their disappearance and even altered his appearance slightly. Discovering such a huge secret, this was practically asking to be silenced. The more Lu Yuan thought about it, the more plausible it seemed. Cold sweat began to trickle down unconsciously. Seeing Lu Yuan so frightened, Chu Xuan couldn't help but grin from ear to ear. My name is Chu Xuan, son of Chu Chula. I won't kill you. Tell me which branch of the evil cult you're from. Lu Yuan was drenched in cold sweat and did not dare to slack off in the slightest. I am not from the Qin Empire evil cult. I am an elder of the Purple Moon Empire evil cult, Lu Yuan. You're from the Purple Moon Empire? What's the meaning of coming to Qin Empire's territory to capture me? Lu Yuan naturally dared not hide the fact that a protector of the Purple Moon Empire died in the Chu Empire. The deputy cult leader suspected the Chu family was behind it, so he sent me to capture you as a hostage. Upon hearing this, Chu Xuan felt utterly speechless. So that's what happened. Zhu Chong's counterattack last time. The results were quite remarkable. Even took out a guardian of the Purple Moon Empire. The evil cult of the Purple Moon Empire actually has its eyes on me. Then don't blame me for taking action. Chu Xuan has planted a soul mark on Lu Yuan and infused a surge of spiritual power to ensure he can maintain peak output at all times. Even Void Stage 9 layer would find it difficult to kill him. Then he issued his first command to Lu Yuan. Pretend to have gained an opportunity and intend to usurp the throne, then turn around and kill the evil cult followers of the Purple Moon Empire. Kill as many as possible. Perhaps if he performs well, he might even deal a heavy blow to the evil cult of the Purple Moon Empire. This would significantly reduce the pressure on the Chu family. Chu Xuan's clever plan was already clicking into place. Watching Lu Yuan's retreating figure, Chu Xuan sighed to himself, thinking that this should allow him to live a stable, reclusive life for a while. As long as he breaks through to the emperor stage, The demonic king's court would no longer be a threat. Lu Yuan returned to the underground palace. The evil cult elders of the Purple Moon Empire gathered together. The person hasn't been captured? An elder frowned at Lu Yuan. Could it be that they failed? Lu Yuan snorted coldly. You have no right to demand anything from me. What is Yuan Chong? I will take the position of cult leader. All the elders were stunned. Lu Yuan has lost his mind. How dare he covet the position of cult leader? Who gave him the audacity? Lu Yuan remains as arrogant as ever. He looks down upon everyone present with contempt. I, Lu Yuan, possess great fortune. Breaking through to the union stage is just around the corner. The position of cult leader is mine for the taking. Ha 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 ha. What kind of incredible confidence is it that allows such a small elder to? What kind of incredible confidence is it that allows such a small elder to dare covet the position of evil cult leader? This small elder, named Lu Yuan, after arrogantly sizing up the entire scene, the faces of all the elders instantly darkened. Everyone began to accuse Lu Yuan of having a stroke of luck. He encountered a fortuitous opportunity, and his strength greatly increased. He actually became arrogant. He dares to covet the position of cult leader. Especially the few great elders who are even more powerful. They directly scolded Lu Yuan for being presumptuous. This is courting death. Zhang Tu, who is on good terms with Lu Yuan, hurriedly spoke up. Watch your words. We're all brothers, but some jokes shouldn't be made casually. Unexpectedly, Lu Yuan showed no appreciation for Zhang Tu's gesture, retorting, Zhang Tu, you're just a useless piece of trash. Teaming up with you is nothing but an insult to me. Zhang Tu was so angry that his face turned green. You little brat, you're really getting full of yourself. Who opposes, who supports? Lu Yuan still looked down on everyone present. Opponents die, but those in the room were no pushovers. A group of evil cult elders were furious. Even the cult leader wouldn't dare to utter such arrogant words. Who do you think you are? Do you think you're a big shot from the king's court? I oppose. How dare you? Zhang Tu was the first to stand up and say angrily. Then go die. Lu Yuan immediately took action. With a single slash, he unleashed his ultimate move right from the start. Zhang Tu never expected that Lu Yuan would actually strike, leaving him no choice but to hastily defend. An arm was severed, instantly turning into a shower of flesh and blood amidst the blade's gleam. You're insane. Luckily, an elder nearby intervened, preventing Zhang Tu from being directly assassinated. How dare you defy me? How dare you stop me from killing? Lu Yuan was furious and immediately attacked again. That elder was driven mad with rage and frantically tried to block. Lu Yuan has truly gone mad. The other elders were both shocked and enraged, shouting, Stop this at once or do not blame us for being impolite. Lu Yuan flew into a rage, declaring, Those who obey me shall live, those who defy me shall die. How dare you oppose me? All of you go to hell. The evil cult elders were so enraged they nearly vomited blood. Lu Yuan has truly gone mad. The arrogance in his tone. Do you think you are the venerable evil king? He has already gone mad. Zhang Tu, clutching his wound tightly, said in a flustered and exasperated manner. I'll kill you first. Lu Yuan roared, a surge of powerful spiritual energy rising from his sword. Spiritual power instantly swept out, and Zhang Tu fell to the ground with a thud, leaving all the elders present utterly horrified. This power is so domineering. It truly is a chance encounter with a rare opportunity. No wonder he's so arrogant. And he might already be under the influence of this power. He's starting to lose his sanity. Even the strongest bald elder present was also. This terrifying power sent chills down his spine. He quickly called on everyone to join forces and suppress Lu Yuan. Beside them, Lu Yuan remained completely unperturbed. Under such continuous outbursts, his physical body ultimately couldn't withstand the true stage level of spiritual power, and began to emit a dazzling multicolored aura. Let's die together. He roared at the sky. Lu Yuan actually lunged forward directly. This was clearly an attempt to self-destruct. The bald elder was terrified in his heart. Lu Yuan, you bastard, you're actually going to self-destruct. Spiritual power ran rampant, and the underground palace began to collapse. I don't know how much time had passed. Yuan Chong looked at the ruins of the underground palace, thinking it was an attack by the strong experts of the Purple Moon Empire. He rushed in frantically, ready to offer aid. All he saw was the bald elder half collapsed against the wall. Where are the others? No enemies were found. Yuanchong roared with fury. Lu Yuan, that bastard did this. The bald elder spat blood, truly enraged to the point of explosion. Lu Yuan? Yuanchong was stunned. Does Lu Yuan have this kind of strength? Where are the others? All dead, I'm the only one left. The bald elder paused to catch his breath, spitting blood as he spoke. Yuanchong's mind instantly buzzed with confusion. All dead. At least 70% of the elders were completely wiped out. The losses were so severe. How am I supposed to compete with other sects now? Bald elder, spitting blood alone, glared at the dazed Yuanchong and gritted his teeth, saying, Damn it, stop standing there. I think I can still be saved. Yuanchong snapped back to reality. He pulled out a bottle of elixir pills and continued to ask for the reason. Quick, take the elixir pill and tell me the whole story in detail. Look carefully. The man actually had firecrackers in his hand. Lu Yuan single-handedly filled the underground palace of the Purple Moon evil cult with billowing smoke. Corpses lay scattered everywhere. At this moment the system appeared. You never even left your home. Slaying enemies from 10,000 miles away. Reward 10 years of cultivation level. Add 1 case of celestial thunder flash. The system's voice rang out, and Chu Xuan immediately perked up. This time the counterattack had yielded excellent results. He received 10 years of cultivation level, and a surge of power and insight emerged. His strength gradually increased, rising from true stage 1 layer to true stage 3 layer. The higher the stage, the slower the strength increases. This time he only advanced 2 minor stages. Chu Xuan examined the celestial thunder flash, a one-time use explosive spiritual artifact that contains a trace of celestial thunder power, effective in suppressing evil cultivators. The explosive force is sufficient to severely injure a true stage 1 layer expert. Is this the cultivation world version of a hand grenade? If any evil cult followers come to harass me again, I'll just stuff a few celestial thunder flashes into their hands and let them counterkill by heading straight to the demonic king's court to detonate them. After counterkilling the Purple Moon Empire evil cult, I should finally be able to stay quietly at home until the 1-year deadline arrives. The Purple Moon Empire evil cult has been severely weakened. Surely they won't send anyone else, right? He was having a sweet dream when Chu Xuan sensed that Zhang Kuei had triggered the soul-sealing mark, indicating there might be something important to report. Chu Xuan immediately became serious. Could it be that a strong expert from the demonic king's court was attacking? After he responded, a figure appeared outside the courtyard. Master. Chu Xuan sat in the chair, sipping enlightenment tea, and calmly asked. The soul-sealing mark can convey Chu Xuan's will, but Zhang Kuei can only use it to transmit simple meanings and cannot engage in detailed communication. The specific situation still requires Zhang Kuei to explain it clearly in person. The deputy cult leader of the Purple Moon Empire's evil cult, Yuanchong, has secretly allied with the cult leader of the Qin Empire's evil cult, Lu Wang, plotting to launch a surprise attack on Chu Commandery with a group of powerful experts, aiming to encircle and eliminate the strong members of the Chu family. To Chu Xuan's surprise, Yuanchong did not continue to cause trouble for him, but instead still held the grudge against the Chu family. Once the plan is successfully implemented, the Chu family is bound to suffer heavy losses, with at least a few void stage managers or elders falling, and even Chu Yun could be in danger. Chu Xuan was speechless. Why do they always stir up trouble? The Chu family must not be in chaos. No matter what. He is also a member of the Chu family. Moreover, the Chu family is really going to suffer heavy losses. That is not a good thing. This will affect his peaceful, stay-at-home lifestyle. Chu Xuan pondered for a moment and instructed Zhang Kuei, find a way to leak the information to the Chu family. Also disclose the evil cult's objectives and the timing of their actions. The Chu family will naturally handle it. The most important thing is to protect Miss Chu Yun. Understood. Zhang Kuei replied respectfully. Chu Xuan thought for a moment. Chu Yun is currently learning alchemy, and must be in great need of various spiritual herbs. So he continued to instruct. Secretly gather all kinds of spiritual herbs and rare treasures for Chu Yun. Let her obtain them by chance, in short, find a way to handle this properly. Yes, master. Chu Xuan also took out precious pills such as the Great Mythical Pill, the Great Spirit Pill, and the Mythical Void Pill, instructing Zhang Kuei to find a way to sell them. To ensure Chu Yun's safety, Chu Xuan manifested 2 giant pythons in front of him. These 2 pythons possessed the strength of the Union Stage's 5th layer. Although their power could not be sustained for long, within the borders of the Qin Empire, they were virtually invincible. If you approach Chu Yun, One of the giant pythons will naturally merge into her body. The remaining one will be left for you to use for self-preservation. Thank you, Master Zhang Kui. He was very excited. With the spiritual power python by his side, he no longer had to worry about his life being threatened. Chu Xuan threw out another mythical union dan. You should strive to break through to the union stage as soon as possible. Zhang Kui left excitedly. Chu Tianming has also half-stepped into the union stage, but breaking through is not easy. At his current stage, taking a mythical union dan would definitely allow him to break through. However, Chu Xuan has no intention of giving him the mythical union dan. This cheap grandfather has never favored him and gets annoyed every time he sees him. It's better to wait until Chu Yun refines the void synthesis dan, allowing Chu Tianming to break through with it. Chu Yun's position in the Chu family will then become even more unshakable. This old man's talent isn't very impressive, Chu Xuan muttered to himself. Why has no one ever doubted that his father, Chu Chulua, could break through to the union stage or even the true stage? Could it be that his father cultivates a stronger technique? That can't be right. If there really were such a powerful technique, wouldn't his father have passed it on to the Chu family? Chu Xuan knew very well that his father still held deep affection for the Chu family. Relying on half a true scripture, he was able to break through to the union stage. Even to the point of breaking through to the true stage. Father's talent is truly amazing, Chu Xuan sighed. No wonder he could dominate his generation in the Qin Empire and is hailed as the most exceptionally gifted in the history of the Chu family. Look quickly, the next action of this giant python is absolutely appalling. It actually burrowed straight into a girl's lower abdomen. Chu Xuan received an 11-month stay-at-home reward, an enhanced version of the diagram of spirit refinement. Coincidentally, his previous diagram of spirit refinement had weakened significantly and was almost on the verge of becoming ineffective. Chu Xuan only glanced at it for 2 or 3 seconds before feeling as if he were about to become completely absorbed. His head felt swollen and dizzy. Enhanced version of the diagram of spirit refinement. Even upon reaching the emperor stage, it still yields certain effects. That time, he might be able to obtain the enhanced version of the diagram of spirit refinement again. The low-tier diagram of spirit refinement has already been phased out. For Chu Xuan it is now useless, but in the South Prefecture, it remains an absolute top-tier treasure. Chu Commandery. Chu Commandery. Chu Qing is now striving with renewed determination. Last time he was ambushed by the evil cult and nearly lost his life. Fortunately, he managed to activate the Sky Escape Orb in time and escaped with his life. He harbors a deep-seated hatred for them. These days he has mobilized the intelligence network of the Chu family to secretly investigate the evil cult's strongholds. He is determined to eradicate the evil cult completely. He also considered purchasing intelligence from the Black Moon Pavilion, but the Black Moon Pavilion's exorbitant price for information on the evil cult's strongholds was too high. He had no choice but to rely on the Chu family's intelligence network. Chu Commandery is under the jurisdiction of the Chu family, and their intelligence system is quite robust. However, due to the lack of detection-type spiritual artifacts or even treasure artifacts, it is extremely difficult to uncover the evil cult's key strongholds. At that moment, a steward rushed in hurriedly and reported that someone had delivered a piece of intelligence. Chu Qing raised his head. Who sent it? Not from the other 3 families, and certainly not from the Black Moon Pavilion. I don't know who it was, the steward replied, shaking his head. Chu Qing took the intelligence report and glanced at it, his expression instantly changing. Go and invite 4th uncle here, Chu Qing said. The steward hurriedly left. Chu Chouhai is the 4th son of Chu Tianming. His talent is only considered above average among his siblings, and he has just recently stepped into the void stage, first layer. Qing hurriedly came to find Chu Chouhai, who arrived in haste. Chu Qing handed over the intelligence and waited for Chu Chouhai to finish reading it. 4th uncle, how credible do you think this is? The credibility should be quite high. Regardless, this matter is not something you or I can handle. I will return to the clan territory immediately. Chu Chouhai, holding the intelligence, hurriedly departed. Outside Chu Commandery in a small village, inside a cave excavated halfway up a small mountain, Chu Yun stared intently at the alchemy furnace, his expression grave. Her entire body's spiritual power was pulsating at a peculiar frequency, vibrating the Dan furnace. Chu Yun let out a low growl in his heart, and the frequency of the spiritual power in his hand shifted. The Dan furnace began to spin swiftly. The lid of the Dan furnace opened, and a wisp of crimson smoke rose from within, shimmering with several Dan pills of varying sizes. Chu Xuan raised his hand and caught them. 4 were ruined while 5 were ordinary mythic Dan. They had reached the quality of fine-grade pills, smooth, lustrous, with medicinal fragrance lingering subtly without dispersing. Chu Xuan was overjoyed and silently reflected on the Dan refining process he had just completed. She identified the shortcomings and planned to improve them in the next Dan refining session. She has run out of spiritual herb and needs to purchase some until mythic Dan can proficiently refine it. The next step is to refine the spirit Dan. Chu Xuan had just stepped out. Suddenly, she saw a color-changing python darting toward her. Before she could react, the python merged into her body. Chu Xuan frantically examined herself and discovered an unknown power hidden within her body, which seemed to be that very python. Suddenly, she spotted a small storage pouch where the python had emerged from, with no sign of anyone around. She picked up the storage pouch and found it filled with a pile of spiritual herbs. Not only were there the spiritual herbs required for refining the mythic Dan, but even the ingredients for making the spirit Dan were present. Besides the spiritual herbs, there were also over 1 million spiritual crystals. Chu Xuan was shocked. Who exactly gave him the storage pouch? Chu Qing. That seemed unlikely. He had no reason to sneakily give it to him. She thought about the unknown power hidden within her body. Probably a senior discovered that I was refining my Dan, and specifically left this spiritual herb to test me. Chu Xuan felt that he might have encountered a true master. She held the storage pouch. Excitedly, she returned to the cave. Outside the cave, 2 figures were hiding. You stay here and protect Miss Chu Xuan, Zhang Kuei instructed Dong Qian before quietly leaving. The evil cult is planning a surprise attack on Chu Commandery. Zhang Kuei, as the first deputy cult leader, he must have full control of the action plan and deliver reliable intelligence to the Chu family at the first opportunity. After all, it's crucial to curry favor with a big shot like Chu Xuan. As for the evil cult, it doesn't really matter. That man has opened his third eye. This means that from now on, no matter who it is, will be unable to conceal their identity in front of him. Just now, Zhang Kuei came to the small courtyard again. After hearing his report, Chu Xuan was slightly surprised. Chu Xuan seems to have quite a talent for Dan refining. In such a short time, he's already able to refine mythic Dan. Very good. Continue to provide the materials needed for Dan refining. Chu Xuan nodded with satisfaction. It was indeed the right choice not to kill Zhang Kuei back then. Having a lackey to handle things for oneself is useful. Zhang Kuei's ability to become the first deputy cult leader of the evil cult is not just due to his strength. His capabilities are naturally not lacking either. Then he handed him a bottle of mythical void elixir, also allowing Dong Qian to enhance his strength. After all, with such low power, he wouldn't be able to handle tasks effectively. With these 2 lackeys working for him and no risk of betrayal, naturally the stronger they are, the better. 13th Young Master, our Chu family, in alliance with the He family, took the initiative to attack and returned with a great victory. The excited voice of a servant delivering the good news echoed through the courtyard. I heard the battle was incredibly fierce. The Qin Empire's cult leader, Lu Wang, even resorted to using the sect's sacred treasure. The servant went on and on about it, but in the end, they couldn't withstand the joint siege by the 2 great families. Lu Wang suffered heavy injuries and fled, while the rest of the evil cult's elite were nearly wiped out. Chu Xuan, the rice enthusiast, shoveled a big mouthful of rice into his mouth while thinking to himself, if the Chu family had obtained the intelligence earlier and still failed to deal a heavy blow to the evil cult, that would have been truly pathetic. Accompanying elder has fallen. The sect's treasured artifact is destroyed. The Purple Moon Empire's evil cult is almost on the brink of extinction. The servant continues to boast. Chu Xuan, on the other hand, just kept eating. In a short period of time, it's highly unlikely that the evil cult is capable of causing any trouble now. You have thwarted the evil cult's plot without even leaving your home. Reward: Heavenly Secret Source-Seeking Technique. The system's reward arrived abruptly, and Chu Xuan was overjoyed. This also meant that the evil cult had suffered a crushing defeat. Heavenly Secret Source-Seeking Technique traces the origin. He read the introduction of the Heavenly Secret Source-Seeking Technique. Chu Xuan was shocked. This secret technique is incredibly powerful. It can peer into the origin and background of living beings. It can even reveal one's past life, of course, only if that past life was extraordinary.